Morning, everyone. We're right on time. It's 9 o'clock. Happy New Year to you all, and may it be a blessed year and safe and healthy for everybody. We're just excited to be back here, and good morning. We've just got our wonderful council, and I'm missing, we have enough. We have a vote, so we will continue. The January 8th, 2014 meeting of the City Council is herein called to order. The meeting has been properly noticed and posted in compliance with the open meeting law. These proceedings are being video recorded as well as presented live on KCLV Cable Channel 2 and are closed captioned for hearing impaired viewers. Please note some customers of Cox Communications who do not have a cable box may view this meeting on digital channel 89.5. The City Council meeting, as well as all other KCLV programming, may be viewed on the internet at www.kclv.tv. The proceedings will be rebroadcast on KCLV and the web the Wednesday of the meeting at 8 p.m., also Monday at 4 a.m., Saturday 7 p.m., Sunday 7 a.m., and the following Monday at 1 p.m. This building is protected by state-of-the-art fire detection and suppression sprinkler system. If alarms should activate during today's meeting, please evacuate using the exits at the back of the chambers out to the mezzanine. Proceed out the double doors to the terrace and down the back staircase. For anyone who has difficulty with stairs, please check with a marshal or fire official for assistance. Once outside, assemble on the northeast corner of the street from City Hall at Lewis and First. Employees wearing safety vests or city marshals will inform you when it is safe to re-enter the building. For public comment related to the items on the agenda, citizen participation and public hearing items, we have available a speaker card, which you may complete and submit to our city clerk up front here. Cards are available online in the clerk's office or at the rear of chambers. If you do not submit a card, it does not prevent you from speaking under public comment, citizen participation, or specified public hearing items. If there's anyone present today who has need for hearing impaired equipment, please see our city clerk staff. If you parked in the parking garage across the street and did not receive a validation ticket as you entered chambers, please exit to your right and then see the security personnel at the entrance. Before we proceed with the agenda, would everyone please rise for the invocation? Reverend Sanford Marks could not be with us today as scheduled, and so Reverend Mary Breadlow, Desert Episcopal Church, has graciously, so graciously as always, offered to perform our invocation today. And please remain standing for the pledge. Thank you.
Let us pray. God of new beginnings, support us all the day long as our mornings blend into noon and evening. Bless us with fresh outlooks each morning, a vivid reminder that we have a chance each morning to begin anew. Help us to see your hand in new tasks and projects, just as the sun breaks over the horizon to start over once again. When life gets tough and hope seems elusive, enable us to remain in the present moment and see the work of your handiwork as renewal, beckoning at the door of our hearts. Free us with the intensive drive to outdo our neighbors, colleagues, friends, and family members. Put a damper on our impulses to be over-the-top competitive, and rest assured that new chances are possible, no matter how last year went. We thank you for the new year, which greets us this first month of 2014. Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we will proceed with the ceremonial portion of the agenda. Shea. Which Laura?
That the liquor thing with the girls and all that would be transition toward the other.
She didn't do it. Okay. Well, good morning, and again, Happy New Year to all of you, and let's hope it is a blessed, safe, and wonderful one for everyone, and all the people in our wonderful community throughout the nation as well, and throughout the country. This is the ceremonial portion of the agenda, but before we get to the items on the agenda, I wanted to explain my magnificent green shirt. Green is never my color. And I have to tell you, oh yes, terrible. Because I'm embarrassed even to be wearing it, and I hope this is being recorded in Texas. I spilled coffee all the way down it, but this is a magic t-shirt. You can't even see the spots. There's something going on in Denton, Texas that we don't know about here. But anyway, unfortunately for us, and especially for me, it cost me $100 personal dollars. Our UNLV football team lost the Heart of Dallas Bowl to North Texas, where, as you know, our president of UNLV is returning to his hometown to speak and is going to be president down there. So here we were. Mayor of Denton, Texas, Mayor Mark Burrows called me on the phone, said, how about a nice friendly bet? Well, his usurious rates, and I think he was really a little bit dishonest, didn't give me any points or anything. So I was sucked into it, and we did so well. The Rebels really looked pretty good in the first half. But as you know, if you happen to watch it, which I hope you did not, the second half, we came up very short. But we had a great season, and our football team is really coming back, and I can't wait to challenge them in basketball because I know that's where we're going to be. So part of the bet was I would appear, the loser, and I was assuming that that might happen, would have to wear the T-shirt of the winning team. They are the Eagles, and I think the Eagles have a pet name called Scrappy for their team mascot. How exciting. It should be a turtle called Snail or something. And as you can see, I'm wearing the shirt. They are the green something. I need help. What are they?
Mean green.
Mean green.
Oh, you know it all. Mean green. Mean Joe Green. Well, anyway, so here I am with this. We expect great things from the program, and Coach Hawk, of course, is going forward, and we couldn't be prouder of the team, but I'm embarrassed to be standing here in this stupid T-shirt. So, without further ado, good morning, Happy New Year, my wonderful City Council. I have to tell you, all these years of City Councils, they think they were the best. There is none but this one. This is the best one. So, for our first item... Are you? Oh, my God. See, Councilman Coffin is always so nasty, yet I love him despite that. He, if anyone remembers my first State of the City address 3 years ago, it was lengthy, but my husband was sitting there, and I had to keep patting him on the back with all the things he'd done. Each year I'm getting better. But anyway, without further ado, our wonderful Councilman Barlow from Ward 5 has a great, exciting time here and a nice necktie.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. And Happy New Year's to everyone. Happy New Year's. Yeah. Thank you. It's most definitely an honor to be here, a new year, 2014. So Happy New Year to each and every one of you in the audience and to those of you listening by way of our online and television broadcast. The Citizens of the Month Award is a special occasion for the City of Las Vegas to personally recognize its most precious and valuable assets, the outstanding people who go above and beyond their respective careers to make our community a better place. Today, I'm honored to recognize one of Las Vegas' best educators, Miss Patricia Harris from Matt Kelly Elementary School. So if you'll please make your way to the podium, let's give her a round of applause as she comes. And if you don't mind, please standing here. And you're looking like you're in New York. There's no ice out on the ground. It's a clear blue sky.
Oh, wonderful.
Absolutely. You're looking very East Coastish.
I'm trying to stay warm.
All right. Well, good deal. Well, stand next to me. We'll get you warm after I announce all of these great and wonderful things that you have done and make you blush. Patricia is the principal of Matt Kelly Elementary School, located at 1900 North J Street in fabulous Ward 5. Although often perceived by the public as a challenged public school, Matt Kelly Elementary has enjoyed consistent and measurable growth year after year under the leadership of Ms. Patricia Harris. And I have carefully watched how this school has grown with its curriculum, rigor, and parent-teacher partnership, making it a healthy and safe learning environment for all. In my view, these are real metrics that distinguishes a master's educator. In 2012, Matt Kelly's ranking grew to 60th among 215 ranked elementary schools in Clark County School District. Additionally, she has assembled an outstanding staff that has been equally effective in educating and providing exemplary administrative services while empowering students to have an attitude of engagement, discipline, and an excitement about education. Matt Kelly serves kindergarten through 5th, manages an enrollment of more than 286 students, with a full-time staff of 26 teachers in 18 classrooms, and its programs focus on computer science, math, literacy, special education, and the arts of music. But the highest honor, in my view, goes to Principal Patricia Harris. In 1999, she decided to make Las Vegas her home, moving from Portland, Oregon. No wonder you have this coat on. And upon arrival, she immediately became active in the community, utilizing her Master's of Administration degree with specialization training in science and literacy. Writing the 21st CCLC after-school grant has been renewed each year. Designed and coordinated the capstone yearly trips to Camp Lee Canyon at Mount Charleston. She collaborated with the City of Las Vegas for sponsoring summer nights programs, collaborated with Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department to serve as tutors and mentors, collaborated with the PALS, the Partnership at Learning program organization, and the Asian American groups to help develop community awareness and student-parent relationships, and also collaborated with the Public Education Foundation to support early literacy for pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade students, which I'm sure the mayor and Councilwoman Tarkanian are pleased to be a part of that as well, with all of the wonderful things that they're doing for the City of Las Vegas through Mr. Knudsen with our education moving forward here at the City of Las Vegas. And finally, Patricia has not only been a trusted voice for me and the community for academics. In her own right, she has established herself as a community leader and, of course, my friend and a friend to Ward 5. And so, therefore, today, ladies and gentlemen, I recognize her as the Ward 5 Citizen of the Month. Thank you. And congratulations. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So, on behalf of the City of Las Vegas, we have this beautiful, beautiful plaque that we will present to you. And also, we want to let you know that we love you, and we want to also share that you're doing a wonderful job in the community and educating our young people, our precious and most assets that we have here. So thank you so very much. And if you don't mind, please share a few words in relation to all the wonderful things that I've just talked about.
Good morning, and thank you. What I'd really like to tell you is that when I first moved here to Las Vegas, I met Ricky and Lawrence Weekly, and we started a partnership that helped really motivate and move Matt Kelly along to where we are today. With all of the wonderful programs and the support that we've received, we have wonderful students, parents, and a community partnership that really has moved us forward. Every year we've made monumental improvement academically. And 2 years ago we were a 5-star school because we had really made a lot of academic growth. With the new growth policy now, we are a 2-star school, but it doesn't mean that we haven't done well academically. It just means we have a new focus, not just for students to pass, but for students to grow every year. So we are motivated and focused, and with the support of all of our partnerships, I'm sure we will continue to provide the kind of students and families and people that will make Las Vegas a wonderful place to live. Thank you.
And you are very, very deserving. And on behalf of the City of Las Vegas, we have this beautiful sign that that will be posted right out on Main Street that reads City of Las Vegas Citizen of the Month, Patricia Harris. So you'll have that up for the entire month of January. All right? Good deal.
I have to brag a little bit more, too, about Matt Kelly, because in the days when Matt Kelly was a sixth grade setter, 3 of our 4 children attended Matt Kelly. And out of Matt Kelly, they found music, and you have continued that fabulous science program. One of our sons is a physician. The other 2, heaven help them, are attorneys. So go Matt Kelly. In fact, is it a bulldog still? Mountain Lions. Well, go Mountain Lions. Love it. So, see? We need a reunion.
Yes, we should have a reunion. George Charkey. He is now a professor at the community college.
So, see? Party time. Okay, thank you, Councilman. Now it's my time and a pleasure to present the city's Employee of the Year award. And I'd like to invite our wonderful city manager, boy, is she the best, Betsy Fretwell, and our wonderful operations and maintenance director, Larry Hogness, to join us up here in presenting this award. Stellar leaders and inspirational leaders. Yes. Beautiful. Our employees strive to be superheroes in the workplace, meeting our values of action, which stands for achievement, creativity, teamwork, integrity, and ownership now. They build our community to make life better. And I'm proud to announce that the 2013 Employee of the Year is none other than Leonard Shoemaker. Leonard, please come on down. We are so proud. I mean, this is a huge award. This is every month, all year. Congratulations. I'm going to tell Oscar. Yes. Okay. Okay. Love and pride here. See, he gets hugs from everybody. Leonard is an equipment operator, one with the Operations Maintenance Department. He's been with the city since April of 2005. Leonard works in our beautifully kept city parks. He ensures that the parks are kept up and that everything is ready so our citizens and visitors may enjoy all the recreational time they take. We have many employees who work very hard to make sure our parks are kept to the highest standards. But Leonard does something even more. He's truly an ambassador for the city of Las Vegas. Many residents have written to the city to praise Leonard's attentiveness, customer service, welcoming personality, and pure kindness. Leonard's a walking example of what city employees should strive to be. And he is the definition of what a real public servant should be. I'd like to share some comments from the citizens that really tell the story about Leonard. One resident wrote about the opening of the dog park every morning at Kellogg's Air Park, and Leonard's worked there. The gates are always open early, and he stops in from time to make sure we're informed about what's going on, and to ask us, each of us, what we can be doing at the city and improve our parks. He scratches a few puppy ears, and we feel better after he leaves. Leonard is the best ambassador for the city and the best that we could possibly have for our parks. Another resident wrote about Leonard finding a lost driver's license and getting it returned to the owner. In society where identity theft is a very real issue, it's comforting to know that there are reliable, trustworthy workers in our city. Leonard Shoemaker stands as an example of honesty on the job. Another resident reported how Leonard stepped in to stop a large dog from attacking a smaller dog at the park. Quote, Mr. Shoemaker showed courage and caring beyond his job description. Mr. Shoemaker takes wonderful care of the park itself, and he also takes great care of those who visit it. The city of Las Vegas should indeed be very proud of Mr. Shoemaker, and so we are. We want to thank Leonard for all of his hard work and his dedication to our community. And on behalf of the entire City Council and myself, it's a pleasure and really exciting to name Leonard the 2013 Employee of the Year. Please, a round of applause for him at this moment. So proud. Along with this award, Leonard has also received various other awards from the city and the council to recognize his great work. Along with this award, Leonard has received a $200 Visa gift card, compliments of One Nevada Credit Union, $500 from the city, and a donation of $500 will be made to the charity of his choice by Super Pawn. And at this time, I'd like to ask our inspiring city leader, manager, Betsy Fretwell, to say a few words, and then, of course, we'll hear from Larry Hogness, who runs our park. So please, Betsy.
Thanks, Mayor. I think you described Leonard very well. You can tell that he's very personable and he cares about his job, he cares about this city, and he gives his very best every day. Sometimes that's not so easy to do when you're having a rough day, but this guy pulls it out every day. So, Leonard, thank you very much for all you do. You're an example for all of us, and we're very proud of you, and congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I want to first thank the council and the city manager's office for providing this great program we have to honor some of our great employees, and Leonard is definitely one of those great employees. I can't say how much it's a pleasure to work with him the way we do. As a matter of fact, in the month of December, he actually found some people that were stealing light fixtures in the park. He took the initiative to take a picture of their license plate, and it's my understanding those individuals have been apprehended now. So he really goes above and beyond and just does a fantastic job for us. Can't say enough about Leonard. So thank you very much. Thank you, Leonard.
Well, first I got to thank the council for all this good award stuff, and it's deserved by many other people besides just me. But I do want to thank everybody, the mayor, and your green shirt. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, but you know, my mom is from Texas too, so.
Oh, I'll give it to you.
And then, especially this lady right here that happens to pop up every now and then and scare me to death, which is a big surprise at the Christmas party when Daphne and all them got snuck behind my back and I didn't know it, and had my wife come down. Had no clue. I'm even telling Daphne, I said, I usually take the day off to bring my wife to the Christmas party. And I didn't do that this year, not knowing my wife is standing on a podium, which I didn't even see yet. So she did a great job on doing that, you know. So, but for this award, it's for all the people like you, and family, and people that wrote in about me. I'm just doing what I do, but it's nice for citizens that I take the applause to citizens for even caring and sending a letter in. So on behalf of that, that's all I can say. I'm like dumbfounded here in a way. So.
All right. Congratulations. Thank you. Is your wife here?
Oh, one more thing. I do have to say one thing. It's about family also. And my brother, my family, my wife, my sister, she's here with her husband, my grandkids. And also tomorrow's my officer Shoemaker is my brother. It's his birthday tomorrow, so happy birthday, brother.
Oh, no. Bring everybody up. Let's come on down for a quick picture. Family, can we do that? Come. And who's the little person? Two little persons. Who are they?
That's my granddaughter and my niece.
Oh, how lovely. Look at this. So happy birthday tomorrow. Not going to ask you how old. I don't think we're allowed to legally. Congratulations. Are you? What a cutie pie. And this is?
This is my grandson.
What would you like to say?
Say hi, Jet. Say hi.
Best citizen of the month. Oh, you want to eat it? Congratulations to all of you. So let's go right in front of City Council. Oh, are you a beauty? Where'd you get Bella? She's got the most beautiful blue eyes, too. How are you? And congratulations. How about, how can we do a picture? All right, come on in. Everybody come on in. Where are you, Leonard? Okay. Okay. Good. Okay, so our camera, wonderful. Okay. We're good at squeezing. Great. Congratulations, Leonard. Beautiful family. Congratulations. Wonderful. Thank you. Happy birthday. Wonderful. Okay, for our next item, I would like to invite our friend, Pastor Troy Martinez, who's with us this morning, to join me at the podium. So good to see you, Pastor. Everybody can always recognize Pastor because of that small mustache. We love it. No, he's a great guy. As we all know, human trafficking is a very serious issue. In fact, it was when I was running for office. Every time John Ralston tried to corner me on what my thoughts were about prostitution, I would say what matters is this human trafficking, and we need to be doing something about it. It is an issue we're working very actively to prevent in our community. It's a huge issue, and it's one of my interfaith group's biggest issues, which Pastor Troy is part of and has been spearheading and working on with all of us. It's a horrible problem exploiting our young and our very vulnerable. Pastor Troy has a great documentary on this issue that's airing this month, and I'm going to let him tell you about it, but first I have a message for those of you who would be harming our children. It isn't going to happen. You aren't going to be able to do it if you hurt our children. You will not find it an easy road ahead of you. We will find you, and you will be incarcerated, and you will stay incarcerated for a long time. Don't mess with our children. Our children are off limits in Las Vegas. They're off limits around this country. And so I believe we have a clip from the documentary. Did we?
Yes.
Oh, good. That Pastor Troy has put together. So if we could see that, please.
Sex trafficking in Las Vegas, under the umbrella of prostitution, is flourishing. It is very lucrative.
It's the exploitation of human beings in what's known as modern-day slavery.
The average age of entry for domestic minor sex trafficking is 12 to 13 years old.
What we're seeing now is a higher influx of local women being exploited into sex trafficking.
She was at a local high school here in town, one of the better high schools here in town, but she was recruited right off the school grounds.
I was a teenager when I met my boyfriend that turned into my pimp.
One of the worst crimes that can be committed is when you victimize a child. And that's what sex trafficking is all about.
Young means vulnerabilities.
Go to the roller rink. There's pimps there. Walking home from school, these men will drive up in their cars and say, "Hey, pretty girl, you want to ride?"
Our kids are exposed to social media every day, but a lot of the recruitment comes from Facebook and other similar pages.
People that pander and engage in sex trafficking will be punished, and will be punished with sentences like life in prison.
Very powerful. And can you tell us a little bit more about it and your messages that you have, and when will this be aired?
I'll do that. Thank you, Mary. Mayor. Thank you, City Council. And as you know, anything in this town that gets done with partnerships. And so this is a homegrown partnership. The Mayor's Faith Initiative started almost 2 years ago and has been working and preparing for this upcoming documentary. And some of our sponsors are here today. Gar Jameson from the Children's Advocacy Alliance, Steve Flores from the Hope Christian Health Clinic, Pastor Victor Fuentes from the East Vegas Christian Center, who will be helping on the Spanish documentary side, and Pastor Aaron from Be a Voice. He's one of the co-producers. And also right here from your own ranks, Dr. Maria Castillo-Couch of the City of Las Vegas, who is a liaison for the Mayor's Faith Initiative that is the conduit that we use to work through to get many of these great things accomplished. And so can I have all those folks stand, because they are really the ones that really support and back us, and we thank them for surrounding us and enabling us to be able to do these things. And the other ones we really need to recognize is we have wonderful general managers in all of our local television stations. On January 22nd, which is a Wednesday night, from 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m., they are in a roadblock fashion, which means uninterrupted and simultaneously on every single station, 3, 5, 8, 13, your own Channel 2, Channel 4, PBS, Univision, Telemundo, all of the stations locally, even up north, will be airing the documentary simultaneously. We're asking that employees of the police department, the fire department, the city, and the county just send messages out to their families and memos out. Maybe the city council can send memos out to all of their constituents, the veterans, and we're just asking anybody and any organization to spread the word on January 22nd to take time to look at this documentary. Right now, the statistics just came out from 2012 to 2013, and every 30 hours, another child is identified and rescued from sex trafficking just in Las Vegas, not counting the rest of the state or the surrounding cities. Every 30 hours. So when we wake up in the morning, go to bed at night, by the time you wake up and have lunch, another child. And those are just the ones we know about. We are going to make a difference by pulling together as a state, and this city has a big leadership role in that. So I want to thank you for allowing us to do that. And Mayor, thank you for your faith initiative to allow us to work so hard together to do these things.
Pastor, can you, if there were a young person out there now, and it can be boys just as well as girls, that happen to be in a room where this TV moment is on, what do they call? Where do they go? They know they can get help, but they're scared to death because of the pimps and the abuse that they take. What could they do?
Well, one of the good news is with all of the hard work with the Attorney General and lawmakers, June 6 of 2013, a new law was signed, AB 67, which means that these young people will not be treated as criminals, but as victims. So there are going to be hotlines, there are going to be websites that will be aired, and they'll be able to connect and get services and get help and get referred to resources that will help them instead of having them being incarcerated.
How about today? I'm watching this, I'm locked in a room, but I see this program. What can I do? Who can I call? What number do I call? 911? What do I call?
You can call 911 if it's an emergency. If you're a parent, if you're a parent or you're looking for information, you can go to www.traffickednomore.org. Traffickednomore.org. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. There's so many young people that, and all of us can remember our teenage years, and some of us perhaps were perfect. But I know for too many of us, we thought we knew more than our parents, and sometimes we felt I just can't stand this anymore, I'm going to run away. So where would they run? They would run to a warm climate, only to find out, figuring that they can always get a job at a McDonald's or a Wendy's or doing something. So they come here to a warm climate, they come to Las Vegas because they can be faceless, and then they find they can't make any money. And so the reality is then they become the most vulnerable creature there is. And so it happens so quickly, as the video was saying. You know, here's somebody driving by and say, you know, come on, I'll give you a ride. Or a girl thinks that a fellow's a wonderful new boyfriend, only to become part of a stable of prostitutes that are out there. So this is something, and if you're one of them, just call 911, call the city, call the council, call the mayor, call anywhere, but get out of your situation. We care, everybody cares, and we can help. Don't let this be your day to do it again and again. Let it be a new day. This is a new year, and you can find help. And we thank Pastor Troy and Maria and Gar Jameson and everybody that's involved with this. This will stop, and we thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. That's so tough. Councilman Ross has our final agenda item.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Troy, and all of you for the hard work that you are doing in this community. We need you, and I don't know what we'd do without you. It is my honor and privilege, Mayor and council members, and ladies and gentlemen of the audience, at this time to recognize some very important people. From the time of the American Revolution, soldiers have sacrificed to keep this country free, and it is important that we remember them and thank them. There is an incredible event coming up that reminds us of what the men and women of our military do for us and for our country. The American Legion is dedicated to serving veterans, past, present, and future, and will be the presenting sponsor of the 6th Annual Warrior Appreciation Night on January 16th here in Las Vegas. The American Legion was chartered and incorporated by Congress in 1919 as a patriotic veterans organization devoted to mutual helpfulness. It is the nation's largest wartime veterans service organization, committed to mentoring youth and sponsorship of wholesome programs in our communities, advocating patriotism and honor, promoting strong national security, and continued devotion to our fellow service members and their veterans. Warrior Appreciation Night is a premier event held during the week of the Shooting, Hunting, and Outdoor Trade Show, or the SHOT Show, here in Las Vegas, giving attendees and invited guests the opportunity to reflect and honor their fallen brethren, veterans, law enforcement officers, decorated warriors, and Medal of Honor recipients. We are fortunate to have with us today, and as I call your name, please come down to the podium. Mitchell Roach, First Vice Commander of the American Legion, Department of Nevada. Commander. Earl Bishop, Department of Nevada, District 2, Commander. Ron Davis, Department of Nevada, District 2, Adjutant. Phil Perlman, Department of Nevada Legion, Rider Program Rep. Mark Christensen, President of Stars and Stripes Foundation, and Phil Strader with the Remington Defense Firearms. Thank you all for being here. Also in our audience, we have personnel representing American Legion posts throughout the greater Las Vegas area. Would you all please stand to be recognized? And would any veterans in this room please stand to be recognized? Commander Roach, on behalf of the Mayor and the Las Vegas City Council, I would like to present this proclamation, which proclaims January 16th, 2014 as Warrior Appreciation Day here in the city of Las Vegas. Congratulations. Share a few words with us, would you?
Mayor, City Council, thank you very much for this great opportunity. Mark, thank you for inviting us today. On behalf of the National Commander Dillinger, Department Commander Byers, and the 2.4 million Legion members, I thank you all for this great presentation, and we look forward to serving the community in the future as we always have. Thank you.
Good. Very good. Commander, you do and you always will. You've done a great job. Thank you for your service. Sergeant Major, would you tell us about this great event coming up?
Yes, sir. On the 16th, the evening of the 16th at 1900 for our military folks, 7 p.m. for our civilians. Sorry about that. We have a gathering of great American heroes at the Del Toro restaurant in the Plaza Hotel. It's open to the public at 7 p.m. For civilian attendees, it's a recommended $20 donation, and it will go to our 6 charities that we are sponsoring and hosting this year. Phil, along with Remington, American Legion, and a plethora of sponsors coming out of the SHOT Show, have donated their time and their product line. We have products there, firearms products, camping products, about $175,000 worth of items that you can bid on. And you get to mix and mingle with folks. We have 3 Medal of Honor recipients, 2 Ranger Hall of Fame living members that will be there, Dick Marcinko, the first commanding officer for SEAL Team 6, and the list goes on and on. Please come out. Please join us. Help us celebrate this year at the Del Toro. The theme on this year's celebration is Nevada's contribution to our war efforts. I'm not sure if you're aware, we as Nevada's, as a state, have lost 39 of our citizens to the war efforts, and we're honoring them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. One more time, please, would you stand and give these wonderful veterans a round of applause and appreciation for their service to their country. Please stand one more time, please.
Come on. Thank you.
Thank you, Commander.
Mayor, thank you very much.
Thank you for your service and for all that you continue to do. Thank you. As always.
Tell Oscar I said hello.
Well, I won't.
We're going to miss you guys. Are you going to come?
Well, Okay. Okay. We are going to have a 5-minute recess so that the council who've been standing here can refresh themselves. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, here we are back. And recess is concluded. Okay, we start item 9?
Yes.
Thank you. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. The amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. All comments made will be cross-referenced to those specific items. If anyone submitted a speaker card who wishes to speak under this portion of the agenda, please come to the podium at this time, state your name for the record, and we will set the time at 1 minute. Okay, hearing and seeing none, we will move on to agenda item 10. These are business items for possible action to approve the final minutes by reference to the regular City Council meeting of December 4th, 2013. Mayor Pro Tem, may I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Move for approval.
There's a motion. Please vote. Please post. Sabotage. Okay. We're council. We are council. Did you vote? Did it happen? Okay. Thank you. And that motion carries. Thank you very much. Move on to agenda item 11, possible action. Any item City Council staff or the applicant wish to be stricken, tabled, withdrawn, or held in advance to a future meeting may be brought forward and acted upon at this time. Please, Mayor Pro Tem Anthony.
Thank you, Mayor. I have one item, item 20, bill number 2013-61. Staff has asked this be obeyed till February 5th, 2014, and that's my motion.
Thank you very much. There's a motion. Please vote. And please post. And that motion carries as well. Thank you. Items 12 through 14 on the consent agenda are considered to be routine or recommended for approval by the departments and may be enacted in one motion. Any items the council wishes to have brought forward?
Yes.
Yes, Councilman Barlow.
Yes, I would like for item number 14 to be pulled forward.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, so therefore the items 12 and 13 on the consent agenda are recommended for approval. Mayor Pro Tem?
I'll make a motion to approve 12 and 13.
Thank you. This motion, please vote and please post. That motion carries, and let's go on to agenda item 14, which I will take a look at and read. For possible action to approve a cooperative agreement, Project Neon, with the State of Nevada Department of Transportation, NDOT, to secure encroachment rights for a right-of-way for the City of Las Vegas City and NDOT, and for the city to program funding to be obligated by NDOT for the construction of local roadway improvements located along I-15 and adjacent arterials from US 95 to Sahara. This is in Wards 1, 3, and 5, Councilwoman Tarkanian, Councilman Coffin, and Barlow. Good morning.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Jorge Cervantes, Community Development Executive Director. This item is a cooperative agreement between the city and the Nevada Department of Transportation for Project Neon, which is the widening of Interstate 15 from US 95 to Sahara, and several arterial improvements in the general downtown area. What this agreement does is it establishes who has what responsibilities as far as the improvements, and then roles and responsibilities both during construction and after construction as far as maintenance of the facilities. As part of the process, NDOT is going through an RFP to select a public-private partnership that will be doing the final design, construction, operation, and maintenance of the facility for the next 35 years. And so this agreement is required for them to move forward that process so that that public-private partnership understands what different roles are between the entities.
Thank you. Councilman Barlow, please.
Yes, Mayor. Project Neon is most definitely a project that the entire Las Vegas community needs today. but I understand that it takes time in order for the entire leg of the project to be completed. In the process, I know that there's going to be a lot of growing pains, a lot of acquisitions as it relates to the private properties that they have to acquire, NDOT has to acquire and has acquired in the process of moving Project Neon forward. Jorge, I know that there's going to be a number of public meetings as it relates to Project Neon, and I know a lot of business owners have contacted my office to include residents in relation to their concerns as far as how Project Neon will impact their business or their lifestyles moving forward. And so will there be an opportunity for the Department of Transportation, Nevada Department of Transportation, to come and do a presentation as far as all of the expansion and various bridges that will be impacted along that corridor, so that the residents will have an opportunity to not only come and make comment here at the council, but also be able to view over television or online what the actual project will look like for those that had not had an opportunity to make it down to the Fifth Street School during the meeting that was held, I believe, in late November of last year.
Yes, Councilman, there'll be more public meetings as the project develops. As I mentioned, they're in the process of selecting the public-private partnership. They've narrowed down to a list of 4 participants, 4 teams. Those teams will be given the final RFP in April. At that time, we'd like to have NDOT come down and make that presentation to you once they have those 4 teams solidified, just to give you more information on what the project looks like, to bring maps that they can roll out to show some of the details of what it is. Once these teams are selected, Councilman, there's still more opportunities to continue working with these properties to make sure that concerns are addressed, because the final design will really be done by the team that's selected. NDOT has developed what the overall concept is as far as the needs for widening and where the connections are, but it'll really be that team that will finalize what the final design will look like. And so at that time, there's still plenty of opportunity to try to address some of the concerns, and we'll have NDOT come by in April and make that presentation to the community.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you, Mayor.
And therefore, Councilman, do you want to move to approve?
Move to approve and accept item number 14. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cervantes. There's a motion. Please vote and please post. The motion carries. We'll move on to agenda item 15, administrative abeyance item, the report from the Information Technologies Department regarding business intelligence technology in the city of Las Vegas. And I believe, Council, each of you have a copy of this report. And Mr. Marcella, we await your lofty conversation. Thank you.
To some of our folks. Oh, excuse me. Good morning, Mayor and Council. Joe Marcella, Director of Information Technology, and with me, I've got some undergraduate students from UNLV that are actually helped us on this project.
Would you introduce them or have them introduce themselves? Thank you.
Yeah, either or, but why don't I just do that? Jeremy Dirk, Ryan Ballinger, and then Danielle Johnson, who performed an in-depth analysis for our Las Vegas technology delivery systems. And also, I don't know if Dr. Peffers is in the audience. He's not. Their professor usually comes right along with them. We have a partnership with the UNLV folks almost every semester. And this was one of the projects that was very important to us. So they're going to kind of help me as we go along. Let me start or frame the conversation with business intelligence as decision support, as executive information systems, and it has existed for decades. It's these business analytics that tell us the who, the what, how much, how many, and how well we're doing in the city of Las Vegas. We'd like to talk about where the city of Las Vegas is today in business intelligence, and we'd also depend on the team to fill us in on some of the uses and the process forward. Let me give you a quick definition. Business intelligence is the ability to take aggregated information data, give it purpose and relevance, and it becomes information. The city manager's office was very specific about if we were going to get into this kind of application, that it has to be dynamic, timely, it has to be accurate. So instead of doing something that most other organizations do, we did it differently. We mine production environments. So it's to the minute and how things are happening within the city, rather than building a warehouse or data marts and other things, which gives you, the council, city management, key results and key information that's necessary for you to make decisions. I usually call it run the place. There's some background to how all of this started. We did have an economic downturn, but for over the years, it's always been important to measure what we do. Appropriate spending for taxpayer dollars. It's always been, it has to be for a suitable public purpose. And then we need to monitor that performance once we've made the decisions and deliver those systems and services. That aligns with council priorities. Originally, it was very important to take what the council needed, what we knew that was aligned with the community, make sure that our city services were appropriate for that, and then departments, lines of businesses were formed underneath that. There were obviously programs and services. And if you all remember, we called it Performance Plus. Today, we still have Performance Plus in place, and we have quarterly meetings. Now it's going to biannual, where we actually talk to city management to tell them how we're doing from an operational perspective, from a trending point of view, budget, dollars, and our direction from a strategy perspective. The databases that I mentioned before that we mine, these are production environments. We started with the wastewater treatment plant. Jorge Cervantes was gracious enough to let us start there. If you look at the wastewater treatment plant, it's really an enterprise in of itself. Financials, LIMS, which is the chemical management, as well as the order management, is all there. So it was a good place to get a good feel for how things would work. We did it there. Business intelligence now feeds back to those folks that are working in the wastewater treatment plant from an operations perspective and senior management as to how things are going. It keeps us compliant. Then, obviously, within the city, you've got the human factor, the stuff that we buy, and then the budgeting of all of that information. Public safety is extremely important, and there's multiple components to that. Development services, and you know we've got that project out there at the DSC, where we're putting multiple departments together and making that a single approach or a community of interest for the citizens. City customer relationship management, and you're all involved in that. It's what the customers, our citizens, ask us for from a services perspective, and sometimes actually ask you. And then everything else. Everyone here heard that term over the last couple of years as to big data. Well, with the handheld devices, PCs, most of the mobile computing, we are accumulating a lot of that. Again, we need to give it purpose and relevance. We need to be able to get into it. This is how we use it. We regulate staffing, manage staffing, keep a constant vigilance on the budget, continuous improvement on operational adjustments. That's a city management CMO mandate. Prioritization of services. I'll give you an example. When Performance Plus was originally put into place, does everybody remember we used to have a canine unit?
Yes.
We found that we didn't have a lot of deployment of canines, but the Metropolitan Police Department did. It identified that we were spending a lot of money for something someone else could do for us. And that goes on and on as this information is in place. Performance Plus Matrix, which I mentioned before, is on a quarterly basis, and asking the next intelligent question. What I mean by that is, anybody ever asked a question, got a report, and that just conjures up 4 or 5 other things more that you want to ask. That's relationships between multiple business units. You got a salary, you got a person, and you got an emergency. And all of those have costs related to them and process. By the way, have you ever had that question remotely, not necessarily sitting at your desk? So we need to be able to deliver these systems in any of the devices that are illustrated. I wanted to give you an example of a dashboard that's used at every one of the fire stations. What it does is it's out of barn time. It's when the truck leaves. What's neat about this is not only every station is using that with their own internal competition, but every other station is in competition with each other. Out of deference for Chief Willie, that's a fire truck arriving on time. One more time, that's a fire truck arriving on time.
Very good.
I warned him that I was going to do that to him. From a council perspective, you're constantly getting requests for information. You're constantly getting requests for us to provide services to citizens. Here's a dashboard that actually shows you what's happening, and it could be you can drill down on this as to not only your ward but category and who and what has happened and when it was taken care of and how well we're doing with that.
Mayor, before Joe goes on,
Yes, please.
the low number indicator there on Ward 6, does that mean I'm working harder than my other colleagues?
I believe maybe you have a less population. I'm not sure, Councilman. But this way, if I give you an illustration, this time it will be of Las Vegas, by the way.
Please excuse me, we have to interject.
Mayor, I'm sorry, but I have to jump in here. Go ahead, Councilwoman.
It might mean that...
You're not on.
Oh, I'm sorry. It might mean that we're working very hard with our citizens and neighborhood associations, teaching them how to access the resources of the city. That might be why.
Oh, here we go.
Mayor,
Here it comes.
have you opened
Go,
a can of worms?
Councilman.
He opened a can of worms. And, you know, there's an old saying, if you want something done, give it to someone that's busy. So being that Councilman Ross is so busy, I would love to have your assistance so that you could teach me how to get the job done in Ward 5. Thank you.
I think I'll go on to the next slide.
Yes, I think that's
It's fine.
wise.
There's a today and tomorrow.
Excuse me, can I just say one thing? Did
Yes.
you say there that you could break it? Could you go back to that last one and we
I
will
sure can.
talk about did you say service requested by ward? Did you say that you could break it down into what type of services were requested?
Uh-huh.
You could, so we could ask you that too. Okay, I just wanted.
We'll go one step further. You could ask the question yourself and actually get on the system and see it. And we'll talk about that at the end of this presentation
Okay,
real
thank you.
quickly. Like I said, there's got to be a today and tomorrow. This is what is visible to most of you today, is we provide information to staff and citizens, and we dynamically mine that. I mentioned that before. Also, I mentioned that there's information on the go, so that you don't really have to be at your desk to be able to see this information. But it has a greater value. Not only can we run the city with this kind of information, but we can start to use these mining mechanisms, the OBIEE, this information gathering for citizens, so they can become part of our workforce. They can be consistently informed. They don't have to drive across the county over to the city to come to any of our counters. This information could be available to them on a consistent basis. So today and tomorrow, what you're seeing is under Transparent Nevada, social information is being either shared with we're part of the citizens' conversation. E-discovery, for those folks that don't know what that is, it's the ability to actually mine our records information, either externally or internally. You know, with our automated agenda, the attached documents are there available to the public right after our meetings. It's that sort of thing. There's a new project this year for e-discovery that even manages it further. Open data, and I'll explain that a little bit further, and I'm going to ask the UNLV students to help me there, where data is then exposed to the citizens so that it can be consumed. So they become part of our technology workforce, kind of like downtown Zappos, writing apps. One of the ones that just came out from data we exposed is an inmate lookup. Where's my buddy? And that goes through multiple jurisdictions as well as data that we've provided out on the web that can be consumed by a user community. And the last thing, operations. The RJs always want to know what we're doing, and we always want to know what we're doing. So that information can be made available. Things like GIS layers, things like financials, things like our checkbook, all of that is there and available for citizens, and that's the idea through transparency. I'm going to ask the UNLV students to go ahead and take care of it. Jeremy, are you the spokesperson?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Miss Marcella. All right. So, yep, looks like it. Mentioned in the previous slide was open data, which was one of the main focuses for our research during our time with Mr. Marcella and the IT department. And what open data actually is making the large amounts of data collected by the city government available to the public free of restrictions, as to promote business development and transparency in city government. And the medium through which this data is made available to the public is the Open Data Portal, or website. Las Vegas currently has one with data sets relating to employee compensation, business licenses, and service requests, among other data sets already available, with even more expected to be uploaded sometime in the future. And the benefits to go into all this trouble to upload city data online is first, that this kind of proactive transparency can make the process of running an open government more efficient, as was the case in the city of Chicago, where their Department of Health found that they reduced the amount of Freedom of Information Act requests received by 50% through posting food inspection data online where people could get to it. And second, history has shown that entire industries can be created when government data is made available, as was the case in the 70s with the creation of the weather industry, when the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration released the weather data that they had gathered. And while we can't really predict the full impact of releasing city data online, we are already seeing some results from its use in other cities and in Las Vegas. Already, mobile applications like the ones found on your smartphones are being created with the use of government data. Examples being Chicago's Site Selector app for local businesses, San Francisco's Restaurant Inspector, and Las Vegas's Food Truck Finder application. And while there are these potential benefits to open data in government, the actual process of uploading data is not simple or easy in the case of the government, which has required the creation of open data policies, which was another focal point for our research in order to determine best practices for such policies. And what an open data policy is the motivation and framework for publishing government information online, which allows the open data website to be actually possible and effective. And these policies may also help in facilitating information sharing within city government. The basis for that being that if the public can access the city data, so can the different city departments, which could help in specific city programs, examples being obesity programs and park services. And a key component of any open data policy is the encouragement of open formats for city data. These formats include CSV, comma-separated values, XML, and spreadsheets. And really, all that these are machine-readable formats for city data. And this allows raw data to be turned into useful information quickly. So instead of thousands of tiny cells in an Excel file, you have visualizations that people can actually understand. And another thing that an open data policy allows for is if a city department has data that they believe is useful by uploading it online to the public, the open data policy will guide them through the process of formatting and uploading that data. And this allows the departments that best know their information to make the best use of it. And moving on, open data in general.
Excuse me, could I ask a question, please,
No
Jeremy?
problem.
How do you protect the data from anyone's out there's access to it for changing data?
Well, really, that has to be done before the data is uploaded. So any information that is considered private or could have security or confidentiality problems needs to be redacted out of any data set that's uploaded onto the open data website.
So there is a clearinghouse and a policy clearinghouse through which everything will go.
Correct.
If I may, I wanted to add something to that. There's a physical barrier as well. We upload this information, provide it on a website so that it's clear, but it can be consumed on the outside, and we use a product that keeps it separate from our databases. So then it's just moved out that way. By the way, I called it Transparent Nevada. It's really Transparent Las Vegas. Okay? I apologize for that.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Okay. And these, and open data in general and open data policies can also assist in the creation of performance trackers, which was another focal point for our research during our time with the city. And like the name suggests, these tools track performance of different initiatives and goals. And so really what they're about for the city is transparency in city government. And these trackers create or provide online dashboards viewable by the public that track different city initiatives and goals and progress in achieving them. Examples of goals include job growth in Las Vegas or administrative goals such as water or energy consumption. And these trackers do have a history of increasing efficiency in government, as when Boston found that the amount of permits issued on time increased from 55% to 78% when that standard had its own performance tracking webpage viewable by the public. And previous picture was just a picture of Maryland State Stat. That was a state-sponsored performance tracker by Maryland. Just one example. And this is a picture of the current, actually, you recently put a link on the Las Vegas website with the new Open Data Portal. So this is the old Open Data Portal that the city of Las Vegas had. And looks like it has most of the same data sets that are contained on the current one. The new one is just a little bit more user-friendly, and it's provided by Socrata, an open data vendor.
Do we have a slide of the new one?
Whoops.
I apologize, Mayor, it went up yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And this was already in the Harper, and I'm always afraid to change it before I come.
I'm like you. Good.
Yeah. But however, it is on the website today. If you go to I Want To, on the left-hand side, it says Open Data, and then click on that, and it shows it more like Microsoft the slides with
Okay.
Microsoft 8.
Thank you.
What I've got pictured here is with the Transparent Nevada, Transparent Las Vegas. This was the predecessor to what's coming as to putting our checkbook out there. Part of the reason that we had the UNLV folks help us with our alternative delivery, open data, transparency, and the like, is because on a rating agency across the United States, rated a lot of cities, for transparency, we had a grade of a D. So one of my performance measures for this year,
excuse me,
and I'm
who
trying to
gave
remember
us-
the name. I knew you'd ask me, and I don't remember the name of the agency, but this
I
year,
mean, do we have any regard for them?
none at all.
Good.
Not anymore. However, one of the things is, so we get a detailed information as to why. And one of the things that was missing was our checkbook. So they want to see the checkbook out there. That's being reviewed somewhat according to the process that Jeremy talked through by our finance department, and we will have that out probably within the next 3 to 4 weeks. So we're expecting either a B or an A on the next review. So in summary, business intelligence is kind of information that supports dynamic executive decisions. You need that on a continuous basis to run the place. It provides operational support according to the things that are happening internally. For us in IT, and Councilman Beers can identify with this, it would be the 5 nines. That means that my networks are up 99.999% of the time. That will be internal operation stuff. We've got to understand that, but that all rolls up to maybe the health of the overall organization and enabling transparent Las Vegas. And I'll never go to a party without providing a gift. So when you all get back to your desktops, as well as your liaisons, you'll see this little icon sitting on that desktop. So everything we just talked about will be available to you. So all you have to do is just click on it, and then you could start to mine the data and the information in the dashboard yourselves. In about 2 weeks, you'll also be called on to ask if you'd like some training. We'll be able then to move it out to some of your mobile devices as well. So we're open for any questions you might have.
It's a very exciting time to be alive, and it's wonderful that we're moving so forward, not knowing what the future holds, but Jeremy and Ryan and Danielle, thank you. I mean, it's just wonderful how you've been spearheading along with Mr. Marsala this for us, and we're just really thrilled. Can't wait to see what's coming in the future. And I understand Councilman Barlow has a UNLV student with us today, so maybe you know this student, or maybe she knows of you. So, Councilman Barlow, where'd you go?
He just stepped out.
Mayor, while you're hunting for Councilman Barlow, Joe, do you get to keep them?
Actually, we try to build a partnership with the UNLV students even after. So the answer is yes. They all have our business cards.
Well, this city should have an ongoing partnership and relationship with higher education throughout this valley, especially UNLV. But good job, you guys. This is very impressive, and certainly what we need at the City of Las Vegas to keep moving us into the future. So I know under Ms. Fretwell's leadership, Joe, you guys have done a phenomenal job. So keep up the good work, and I look forward to seeing more work from you guys, whether it's public or private. You know, we've worked hard to create the setting downtown, of course, with a lot of our private partners, Tony Shade, to name one, but all of the tech startups that he's been involved with, and I see him coming alive in the downtown area, so there's golden opportunity for you three as future entrepreneurs to set up shop and create some jobs. So,
And we want to know when the Wi-Fi is spreading beyond that core. We get questions a lot, but let me defer right now to the elusive Councilman Barlow, who has returned for his introduction.
Thank you, Mayor. I figured that this would be a good segue to introduce my intern also. She is a student at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, my alma mater as well. And so at this time, I would like to turn the microphone over to her for an introduction. Go ahead.
Good morning. I would like to thank Councilman Barlow and the council for this opportunity to intern in the office, working with them, learning about the government of Las Vegas. My name is Chanel Williams. I'm a senior at University of Nevada, Las Vegas. I'm studying criminal justice and psychology. I'm graduating in the spring of 2014. After graduation, I'd like to go on to law school at Southern University.
Good deal. Thank you, Chanel. And in addition to that, I want to congratulate the students also from UNLV for a job well done working with the City of Las Vegas. And just as Councilman Ross shared, you all most definitely have a bright future ahead of you with the variety of opportunity that exists right here in the City of Las Vegas. And so although Chanel is going to go away to law school, I'm pretty sure she's going to come back to Las Vegas to serve her time out representing the citizens of this great city. So Mr. Marcella, thank you so very much for giving the students an opportunity as well to serve in your office, to do such a wonderful job with their presentation and the work that will be moving forward due to their efforts.
Thank you, Councilman. It's been very beneficial for the city.
Thank you, Councilman. I just would like to know, what years are each of you?
I'm a senior.
I just graduated.
Congratulations. See, oh my goodness, capture them all. Councilwoman.
I just wanted to comment that I think Mr. Marcella is doing absolutely an excellent job. Councilman Ross, in what you're talking about, maintaining these internships. I've had the opportunity through something else we're doing with interns, and I am so very, very impressed with the work you're doing and with the work they're doing. It's just impressive to see the high level of work that's being done, the intelligence that's involved, the leadership abilities that are being shown. And Mr. Marcella, I believe you've taken this very far within your department. I want to congratulate you on that and thank you also for all your help.
We thank you.
Thank you very much. Great report, and congratulations. I hear someone down here who doesn't have enough to do calling. Oh, no, it's Councilman Beers.
I just wanted to let Mr. Marcella know that when that email comes out offering the training, we accept. The entire Ward 2 office accepts.
We'll be up there.
Thank you again.
Mayor, if I may just say real quickly, this is really probably going to transform the way we do business with our public from an engagement standpoint. I know Joe hit on it. You don't have to get in your car and drive across town. It goes way beyond that. Researchers from around the globe will be able to pore over our data, do homework, drive new business development in our city using our information. It's working incredibly in other cities. So there's a tremendous business development impact of us being able to have this open data source available for business development, for citizens to be able to do their own homework. I don't necessarily agree that people do a whole lot of homework on our checkbook, so to speak. So, getting an A in that, I agree with Joe. But I do believe in the power of having information available for people who do want to do their own research, because they may find things we don't. And that only makes us better. And so I'm really excited about the potential of this tool, not only from a management standpoint, but from a citizen engagement and a business development standpoint. I think it's going to change our world here in Las Vegas. So thank you, Joe, for all your hard work, and the team of interns. You guys have done incredible work.
Thank you again, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And we will now move on to agenda item 16. This is a report regarding the status and progress of the shared services and management consultant agreement with the city of North Las Vegas. And I think we have this piece, and we will have the presentation. Good morning, Happy New Year, Mr. Olivas.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. For the record, Ted Olivas, Chief of Staff. This morning I'm going to provide you a brief update on where we're at with our shared services arrangement with North Las Vegas. As you know, the interlocal was approved on November 6th, and the first shared services committee meeting was held. Actually, this is a typo. I'm just looking at it. It was actually December 19th. Not the 9th. At this meeting, it was generally administrative in nature. The chair and vice chair were selected. Glenn Christensen was selected as the chair, and Kristen McMillan was selected as the vice chair. As you recall, our goals were generally to generate revenue, reduce costs, stabilize our service delivery levels. And a restatement of these goals and our considerations are essentially more revenue, increased efficiency, improved or stabilized service levels, programmatic reviews, and innovation and strategic opportunities. We did select the committee members. There's 11 of them. As a reminder, as you know, ex-Councilman Steinman is the representative from the City of Las Vegas. He is very active in this group, and he's done a great job for us. I wanted to note that Shelley Berkeley did have to resign from this committee because of her new job responsibilities. The areas to be explored and the timeline for this committee is shown on this chart here. January, we're looking at economic and redevelopment, purchasing. February.
Excuse me if I might, Mr. Olivas, could you go back to that slide?
Absolutely.
Please. Just a thought as you go forward, perhaps to put on the new director of the Water District in place of Congressman Berkeley, just as a suggestion to look at that possibility, because the alignment in the water area, everything with North Las Vegas, I think could be beneficial to him and to us.
Absolutely. We'll
Thank
certainly
you.
do
Just
that.
a suggestion. Okay, sorry.
No problem. And so this is the timeline. It's through April. We're going to be wrapping things up in May, and we'll do a summary of all of this. So the committee has a lot of stuff to look at. The departments are all engaged in this. We have department representatives that are working with their counterparts at North Las Vegas. We're not waiting, for instance, for information technologies. Joe and his group are having those conversations now, even though we're showing a formal presentation scheduled for April. This schedule is a fluid schedule. It kind of depends on who's where in the process. We recognize that some of these things are a little more to tackle than others, so we'll be giving you updates as that progresses. The next shared services meeting is this week, the 9th. It's going to be held right before your State of the City address. It's going to be here in our training rooms on the 9th from 3 to 5. And the topics that we're going to be going through include a general review of local, county, and state government, revenues and expenditures. Mark Vincent is going to provide that presentation. An overview of the Las Vegas and North Las Vegas budget structure. We have both Mark Vincent and Darren Adair from North Las Vegas. He's their finance director. We're going to give those presentations. And then a presentation on municipal bond ratings and how they work and what it means to the community. And finally, a financial update on the City of North Las Vegas from the CPA firm of Piercy, Bowler, Taylor, and Kern. So that's essentially where we're at. I'll turn it over to Betsy for some additional comments.
Thank you, Mr. Olivas.
Thanks, Ted. Mayor and members of the council, so we're at the very beginning of the heart of the work. And so tomorrow, the primary focus, as Ted mentioned, is on finances. Last night, the City of North Las Vegas had a special city council meeting to review their 7-year forecast, which they prepared in preparation for a presentation to the Committee on Local Government Finance. But it's also going to be a key part of what we will be using in the Shared Services Committee in identifying savings targets and things of that nature, and validating what we can do and what we can't do to assist them in that regard. The final report on this agenda is one prepared by the independent financial consultant that's in our interlocal agreement. And so we're anticipating that report tomorrow, and when we receive it, we'll be happy to get it to your offices for your review. And then if there are some questions, we can handle those in briefings or at our next council update like this one. We did invite Darren and Jeff from North Las Vegas to come and give you a quick overview of what was covered last night. I know there was some media coverage this morning and there was tons of video media coverage, but sometimes it's better to hear it right straight from the people who did the work. So I wanted to thank them for their willingness to come and share where they are right now. And I would like to invite them up to share their financial forecast overview with you. We don't expect a total detailed presentation like Darren had to go through last night, but he's going to give you the summary, and then there may be some questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you. And there are 2 mics. You can go if you want to the other one as well. Just make sure the red light's on as you introduce yourself.
Hi, for the record, Jeff Buchanan, Interim City Manager, North Las Vegas. Well, first let me say Mayor, City Council, Mark, Betsy, Scott, Orlando, Ted, Happy New Year. It's great to be here to stand before you to give this opportunity to continue to talk about this great partnership that we have. Darren is going to give you a couple of the high-level notes of last night's meeting, and we're happy to do so, and we're glad to be here to continue this partnership.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Last night, the presentation...
would you just for our records again
Yes.
introduce yourself?
Darren Adair, Director of Finance, or Acting Director of Finance for the City of North Las Vegas.
Thank you.
Yep. And I've actually put a piece of paper here in the center. I think, is that... Put that up. So I think, again, I want to thank you for the opportunity for allowing us to come and share a little bit of this with you. Again, you're getting a little bit of a sneak peek at some of the information that will be provided in the report from the independent accountants that have been engaged under the Shared Services Agreement. What you have here in front of you, which was presented last night to the City of North Las Vegas City Council, is a summary of the 7-year financial model that we put together. Realistically, a 7-year model, I think most of you agree, doesn't have a whole lot of value. A lot of things can change in 7 years, and looking back 7 years ago, things were very different. However, this model has been prepared originally in response by the City of North Las Vegas to Assembly Bill 503, which was providing a tool to the City of North Las Vegas to consider using to access additional funds from its enterprise beyond what is already accessing or what has been statutorily limited. The financial model here, as it's stated here in the heading, assumes that the city is trying to stay above the 8% minimum fund balance that was set by resolution by the City Council. There's a 4% minimum fund balance that's set statutorily for the city. In our prior experience, and this is before my time, when we got below 8%, we had significant cash challenges, and that's a minimum that we've established. So as you can see here, in the first year that's being reported, 2014, we have what we would call a funded budget, which I'm replacing that word instead of a balanced budget, because a funded budget just means that our expenditures in this particular situation are still in excess of our revenues, but they're coming closer in line. But we are continuing to dip into our fund balance, and that's what presents a challenge for us. These numbers that are being presented here assume that we continue to take what we have been taking, which is $32 million a year from our enterprise fund. And at this point, the challenge with that is that this practice, which has been going on for some time, just to give you an idea of the magnitude, I just reached back into the history records going back to the year 2000, and from 2000 to 2009, the city of North Las Vegas used about $210 million in subsidies from its enterprise fund, and then from 2010 to this year, we've another $160 million in enterprise funds. So this
Excuse me, I'm
Yes, ma'am.
trying to follow this. When you say none, what do you mean by none? You mean you're figuring you're going to meet your budget?
We do actually anticipate beating that budget slightly this year, but basically a budget that was put together, and we had to put together a funded budget, which basically means that we have in that budget a proposal to be able to meet all of our cash expenditures for the year.
So
And
you're
that's
cutting
what-
where you need to cut, and that's what you're saying, that's why you're going to be able to reach it. I just saw on the television, now, was this where the mayor spoke last night? And he
Yes,
was
the
very
latest.
strong about not having had transparency, and we do need transparency. And how did you get these figures of what you're going to have in the future?
Okay, so what we did is we prepared a 7-year forecast and model that basically took the regular budgeting process, which involves the department heads providing their input on revenues and expenditures, and then we forecasted that out. We developed that out 7 years so that we could meet the requirements under AB 503, which they were asking for a 7-year forecast. This does not take into consideration any kind of negative events such as legal action or falling short significantly on C-tax revenues or anything like that, nor does it take into consideration a lot of the positive things that we're working on in the city, but which we may or may not have sufficient information right now or control over right now to be able to include into the model. So this makes an assumption that staffing levels stay the way they are right now, that traditional merit increases and pay increases are in place in that.
And this is why you stated that a 7-year forecast sometimes doesn't give you everything you need, right?
Yeah, well, my professional experience, I don't typically develop a 7-year forecast certainly not for executive management decisions, because it's the assumptions that you make by the time you get that far out can be significantly off.
Yeah, because, you're talking about revenue of 20,000. But anyway, thank you very much.
Yeah. All right, so I think that essentially this schedule here recognizes the structural deficit under this prepared model. We would be recognizing of $152 million. If we were not using the funds from the enterprise, that we would actually have a structural deficit in excess of $300 million. So it gives you an idea of the gravity of the situation. I think what we wanted to communicate with the council this morning, appreciate this opportunity, is that this model this discussion has been an important part of the shared services. I think there's been some concern expressed on the council's part to understand the structural wherewithal of the city of North Las Vegas to enter into any kind of shared service agreements and to be able to honor those agreements during the period of time. What we're communicating here is that this model has been prepared for the Committee on Local Government and Finance in response to that, but we have taken that same model and provided that to the independent consultant accountants that have been engaged by the City of Las Vegas. And what they're performing on this is a validation of sorts, looking at the assumptions that we've used and the historical financial information over the last 5 or 10 years to make sure that our assumptions are not wildly out of line. The model doesn't have formula errors and things like that, things that could dramatically impact decisions being made off of it. So I expect that report will come back in tomorrow. I'm sure it'll have just a summary similar to this one here, but it'll also talk about, probably in greater detail, the respective funds and perhaps what kind of opportunities the city may or may not be able to look into, and then comment on the preparation of the model and the accuracy of the formulas and so forth. But hopefully that gives a basis for our continued discussions On the shared services side, obviously those discussions have been very encouraging, but wanted to make sure that you understood openly and transparently where, what you hear on the news sometimes may not be, from a number standpoint, absolutely accurate, and wanted to make sure that if we could take a little bit of your time this morning to share that same high-level picture with you as well.
Thank you very much. I mean, I know we are very hopeful of being of service and would love to see some progress made, priorities established as you go forward. Obviously, even just taking the small, easy bites first,
Right.
because you have inherited something really substantial. And so the bigger the issue, the more time I know it's going to take. So I know Ms. Fretwell is just really also committed to this, and with our staff that has been working with you, we're just really hopeful, and I know Mayor Lee is just really hopeful that there are ways that we can move into some of these progresses.
Yes.
So,
yes, and obviously the shared services agreement has some potential to contribute to our recovery, and the mayor and the council are very encouraged by the opportunity and discussions we've had so
well,
far.
there are sisters. Councilman Ross, yes, please.
Thank you, Mayor. If I may, I'll get to you too in just a second. I want to go back to Mr. Olivas's list of the Shared Services Committee members and publicly express my personal appreciation and gratitude for taking part in this. I mean, this is across the board, Ms. Fretwell, in regards to who these professionals are in our community to help kind of guide this in the right direction between the City of Las Vegas and North Las Vegas. Now, Mr. Adair, Mayor Lee had shared with me, I think probably right after he spoke to you the first time about coming on board with North Las Vegas, about what his plans were. And so it's good to see you're at the City of North Las Vegas now, because I think between you two's leadership and guidance, you're going to help Mayor Lee and North Las Vegas get to where they need to be. That being said, you're right, Mr. Adair, in regards to the press, and I mean, they have a role to play in this community, but I think it's important for the public to know, Mayor and council members, that we, as the City of Las Vegas, are working with the City of North Las Vegas. And I think it's important that that's out there, that the residents of both cities understand that we are sister cities and we're working together to find ways to stretch the taxpayer dollar and to help in regards to what our needs might be or the City of North Las Vegas's needs may be. So again, my kudos to Ms. Fretwell, your leadership team, Mr. Buchanan, yours as well, because it's going to take both teams in both cities to kind of get this headed in the right direction for decades to come. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Rossbaugh. We wish you well. May 2014 bring some positive solutions. And Councilman Coffin, yes, please. You need your button on?
Thank you. If you're finished saying what you're saying, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to get your attention so that I could speak after you did. But if I can have the floor, then thanks. Well, I'm still very, very optimistic that working together we can do some things together to help save money. I worry about whether we can save enough money to make up for the deficit here, the structural deficit that you have. I am, since I was a legislator, and I served with John Lee for a long time, and I know him very well, and he's a man of boundless energy, and he's really open, and he'll give his life for this city. So that may explain to me why he said what he said about the size of the problem. Even 6 months after taking the oath, it's still staggering to him, because I was a legislator all these years, and I didn't realize that starting, say, 5 years before the Great Recession started, that in fact North Las Vegas was using those enterprise funds to create a funded budget for its operations. And it was apparently an open secret amongst local government people, because when I came here 2 years ago, I found out about it, and I hadn't heard about it at all while I was a legislator. So it apparently had been in, progress for many years, and county and city people knew about it, but nobody was going to, say North Las Vegas is fouling up, because it was their sister city. They're, you wish them well and you want everybody to succeed. So the fact that the use of the enterprise funds mounts up to almost $400 million over those last, 12 years then, or 13 years since '02?
Yeah, yes, since 2000.
It's even larger in my mind now than I think it was when I first heard about it. So I can understand why the mayor may have felt that it was so big.
How many million?
400 million, a total over the 13 years. So I think any government would want to get it wherever it can because it knows it's got to provide the services. But the government was in a bind because the unions weren't going to be agreeable on reducing pay and benefits, and I understand that. That's their job to fight for everything they got and not give back. So we're going to need, I know from this committee, we're going to need an honest assessment as to whether or not it truly is salvageable. There are opinions, and maybe just one or two opinions on the council that it won't work. But that's because of the knowledge of the size of the gap. And, but I want it to work. I really do, because, you know, I've grown up here in this town, and in the old days when you used to derisively call North Las Vegas Northtown, those are long gone. It's a beautiful city, and with neighborhoods to rival any city in the country. So, you know, I'm happy that it's all come out, and, you know, I do not know if AB 503 gave you enough, it seems like it did, gave you enough wiggle room to be able to keep using the enterprise funds. But it may not have. It may, you know, it may have been that you will begin to start losing the ability to service your sewer obligations and other things and other enterprise funds. I'm not sure all that you have borrowed from, not you guys, but the previous administrations. I don't know how it was kept secret so long, to be honest with you. I'm not sure. It was in filings, and yet it was to the public, they didn't know about it. But I mean, inside the local government, it was well known. How did that happen, that it managed to be silent so long?
You know, there have been disclosures that were included in the budgets and at a very minimal level in financials and reports. There was not a lot of attention drawn to it, I think, historically. I can't really speak to that because as a citizen of North Las Vegas for 20 years, I didn't know about it, and nothing hadn't been pointed out to me. I think one of the things that was important that I was trying to stress last night to our city council was the size of that deficit, structural deficit, even after taking in consideration continuing to use those utility funds, which puts that fund in a very serious situation, is the shared services. I don't believe there's anything that we could do under shared services that could solve the entire problem. I don't believe even with concessions with the labor groups that we could solve the problem from them alone. There is no single source that I'm aware of under the city's sole control that we can solve this problem. So one of the reasons for it becoming public and being more transparent about this is that the only way that you can get partners like the city of Las Vegas, who's through the shared services, and others, you know, state and county and all stakeholders involved with the city of North Las Vegas to become a part of the solution is to properly inform them about where you're at, as the mayor would say, and then from there make a determination where you're going. But I think the seriousness of this is that the size of that deficit going out 5 to 7 years will require more than what the city of North Las Vegas alone and the council there can do. So I understand there'll be some tough decisions for this council to make, but I believe, as you pointed out, as a sister in the valley, you're a stakeholder as well in the success and failure of the city of North Las Vegas, and we are hopeful that you, as well as other partners, all of the stakeholders, will in some way participate in the solutions, and collectively this will be overcome. We do believe very much so that the future of North Las Vegas is very bright. There's a lot of opportunities, and I know we've heard those comments from many of you as well, and appreciate that support.
You're welcome, and thank you very much.
I am hopeful. One of the things that we've been discussing it somewhat at length, of course, we don't have a lot of land opportunity here for business. And I think as you plan in a short term, it's going to be slow. But as you look down the road and to drive the jobs and the businesses and somehow find a way that with shared services, it would be advantageous both to the city and North Las Vegas. But I do see with the attention on our wonderful community overall and positive numbers beginning to be realized across the county, that there's a bright spot in the future. And it just means stewards have to be watching this. Because it is absolutely amazing that these years have gone by, and we, sitting here, have to be responsible for our numbers and our budgets, and to be there and not do something about it is totally irresponsible. So we're here to help. What has gone by, you can't change the past, but what you can do is learn from it so we can prepare for the future. And we are here with you in hopes of helping where we can, and know that we have the finest staff to help you with your fine staff as you go forward. So we're thrilled, and I know Councilman Beer says I can feel the breath.
Thank you, Your Honor. We didn't attend it with the proper amount of hoopla, but we already have a pretty significant service sharing agreement. Could you run through the details of that, Betsy, for us, and put the scope of the dollars we're saving there in context of these numbers, because I honestly don't know the answer to that question. And then I'd like to hear from the executives from North Las Vegas as far as whether they're happy with that service sharing agreement. It's been almost a year, hasn't it?
Right.
And what their intent is to continue.
The service sharing agreement is one where the city of North Las Vegas is staffing one of our jail units at our detention center, and so we're in a partnership there, and they are paying us basically rent and staffing and contributing to the various contracts that afford support there. So for the city of Las Vegas, we anticipate around $6 to $7 million in new revenue through this partnership. And for them, my understanding is that it's saving them somewhere between $11 and $15 million a year. I think, and I don't want to speak for Darren, so he may want us to speak specifically to this, but I would presume that in his expense line on his chart that you're not seeing here, that drove these deficit numbers, that $11 to $15 million savings out of their jail and police budget is already represented there, and that the transfer out to us for those services is represented in that model. So those savings are probably included in that 7-year look.
That is correct.
Okay. So the partnership is working pretty well. I have to say it started out a little difficult. I actually had, I don't think that Chief Freeman is still here, but I had Chief Freeman give a brief presentation to our directors about, how do you go through this process? When North Las Vegas approached us about the jail services sharing agreement, we had about 30 days to get it done so that they could build it into their final budget in order to mitigate an even larger deficit than the one they budgeted for, which I believe this year is around $14 million on the books, right? So if you think about it, that could have been a much higher number, probably somewhere closer to 24, had they not worked with us on that joint agreement. So after working through the first 6 months or so of really trying to align how we deliver services and figuring out who is doing what and a variety of those other issues, much of those integration components, computer things, operational details, standard operating procedures and how they intertwine and how they could be intertwined, much of that's worked out. So I think you would find both chiefs standing up here saying that that's been a successful partnership. But, every change like that, there's different cultures you're trying to integrate. There are different pay scales still between our employees and their employees. That continues to create problems. We have different SOPs or standard operating procedures that we have to continually work to make sure that we're working well together. That's not unusual in these kinds of situations. So I think we've had some good lessons learned. One of the things that's fortunate, I think, by the council giving us 6 months to work through these issues instead of 30 days, for instance, is that hopefully we will have the adequate time when there is a potential, an opportunity like the jail one was for us, that we can work through those details in a much more finite way, where we're really clear when we're using language that we're saying the same thing, even though the words may be the same, we may be interpreting them differently, and that we can really test the business mechanics of the deal. So maybe a longer answer to the question you asked, Councilman Beers, but I hope that that kind of puts in perspective that they can work, but they take a lot of work. and they take a lot of pre-planning, and I'm glad that we have the opportunity to do that pre-planning through some robust dialogue right now. And the Shared Services Committee is going to help us a lot, because they're going to be able to ask a lot of very difficult questions and thorough questions before we would bring anything back to the City Council for final consideration.
Satisfied? Thank you very much. Yes?
To what Councilman Beers said, I think we need more specifics. When we say that we're making this much more, we've saved this much, I'd sort of like to know where it is we're saving it. You know, but I'm trying to follow all these things we're supposed to do as a city council person. Ms. Fetrell, when I spoke to you about my concern about the detention center, and that how some of the responsibilities that were North Las Vegas's responsibilities as far as the intake were no longer being done by North Las Vegas personnel, but what was falling onto our personnel. And at that time, you told me, well, they could fit it in, you know, that so forth and so on. But if we can fit it in, there might have been work we could have been doing for the city. And I have a concern with the fire situation. My understanding is that we had almost an even amount of help from North Las Vegas as we did crossing lines, but it's been increasing quite a bit, which means that our fire personnel have more to do. And I want to help North Las Vegas all we can. You know, a long time ago, I spoke to the personnel over there and I said, please, and I told you about that, Betsy, that I said, understand that we're not trying to take over or do anything, but any way we can help, we want to help. But at the same time, I have a great concern. We don't cannibalize our own situation to a great extent. And that's because our people are paying their taxes. We had pay cuts here. We know we've had pay cuts that were not easy to take by a lot of different people. Sometimes they weren't that wasn't the same situation in North Las Vegas, but we worked very hard to be where we are. And I'm only saying I want to help North Las Vegas very much, as I know this whole council does, but I do want, Betsy, if I can, please have more specifics related to the questions that Councilman Beers mentioned.
I'm happy to give you a detailed report about the revenues. They're not just savings, they're actual new revenues coming into the city.
The new revenues, but what are we doing to help bring them in, and what's our personnel going over there and our costs coming?
Right.
That's the
I'm
only
happy
thing.
to give you a report about how that's working. We're actually working on that as a result of your request. It's just not quite done yet. So we'll be happy to get that
And I'm sure the
to you.
North Las Vegas personnel understand if the situation was reversed, you'd be doing the same thing, because my responsibility as an elected official in Las Vegas is to make sure that we that we use our monies where our monies are needed for our city also.
I would be remiss if I didn't say the revenues that we're able to generate off that contract helped us do two major things. One, it helped us restore those salary cuts for our corrections officers. We would not have been able to do that but for that assistance.
And that's very good. Those are things we may not know.
And we were able to put millions of dollars aside from the revenue from that contract to be able to expand our jail to add more isolation beds, which is what the labor management team has been working on hand in hand over the last 4 months to make that happen, and we put it on a fast track. So there are some really good things that have come as a result of the new revenue coming in for that particular function that will create a lot of flexibility. But I'm happy to put that report together for you and share it. You know, you go through these things and you learn. So are there some things that we might do differently next? Sure. And we're very mindful of that, which is why I've asked Chief Freeman to make sure that she's working with her counterparts at our department head level to make sure that they're aware of the things that she learned, the lessons she learned going through that process, so that maybe we don't step in those same holes along the way in the other departments if there's a partnership to be had. Right. And I agree with you, Councilwoman. We have an obligation to our citizens and to do things smartly, efficiently, and where they can work together, great. If they don't, then we're not going to do them.
And then we can show our citizens this is the way it is, and this is how we're benefiting also. One last question, and that is, as far as taking money from the enterprise fund, has the legislature ruled against that now? You can't do that, or are they talking about doing that?
There was a bill that was passed a couple of sessions ago that gave everyone that was relying on a PILT payment, kind of a payment in lieu of tax payment, from their enterprise fund to their general fund, like the one that Darren described for North Las Vegas, 10 years to wean themselves off of the PILT. Part of what you saw on Darren's chart is that in year 7, the impact of them being completely weaned off of the PILT, and it makes them have a $42 million annual deficit in that year. Last year, there was a bill passed, which Councilman Coffin referred to as AB 503. AB 503 gave, in certain circumstances, specific relief to that 10-year weaning off period for, in this case, North Las Vegas, which is what they're appealing to the Committee on Local Government Finance for that relief, so that they could use more PILT money than they have been using in order to address certain service area shortages. So, well, that remains to be worked out, I guess, what North Las Vegas asked for, what CLGF agrees with, et cetera, et cetera. But the answer is sort of a yes and no. Yes, there was legislation saying get off the PILT, and then there was legislation that was passed last session specifically to help struggling local governments that met certain criteria to be able to use the PILT upon appeal in addition to their cap through the Local Government Finance Committee. Mark, did I get that right? Yes. Okay.
And that would go for 10 years, and that's why the 42,000 was there?
42 million.
42 million, excuse me, 42 million.
In year 7.
And that's why, okay.
They're continuing
That's
to
what I
rely
didn't
on $25
understand.
million worth of PILT transfers above and beyond their franchise fee level and their direct cost accounting for support of their sewer fund and their sewer activities in their model. And so it's a, if you look at their numbers, and they've got 17 in this year, if they didn't have the transfer in from their enterprise fund for sewer and water, that number would be $25 million more.
I see. Well, that helps understanding the figures. I want to thank you very much for sharing the information in such a good way with us. And I think you're moving in a very good direction, and I'm glad we can help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the report and the update. And after you let go of each other for a second, just to make sure, when is our next update planned for?
We're planning on having this agenda item on the first meeting of every month. If we need to do them more frequently, we will. But right now, we have a standard report out like this that gives you an update once a month.
Great. Thank you very much, and thank you, and good luck. We're with you. Thank you. Well, this was a report, so we have no motion on that. Agenda item 17, report for possible action on the 2014 federal legislative agenda. And I would think this is Mr. Olivas. This is agenda item 17.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. The gift that keeps on giving. I'm here again, Ted Olivas, Chief of Staff. I'm joined today by our government affairs staff, including John Lopez and Leanne Lee. I think Deputy Director Tom Perigo is here as well. I have a brief presentation on our annual federal plan. I believe that you all have copies of the plan. It looks like this. It's very similar to the draft that we sent you about a week ago. That's it. That's it. And as you know, this is an annual process that we go through. We meet with each of you. We meet with the city manager's office. We meet with all the directors. And we bring in our federal lobbyist, Vicki Cram, with Patton Boggs, to identify what our federal issues are and essentially update this document. Vicki uses this plan to guide her in her efforts throughout the year while she's back in Washington. So she knows how we feel about a lot of different topics. So I'll go through a brief update on our plan for this year. Essentially, this plan is kind of an update of what we did last year. And the sections that you see here are the same sections that we used last year. An overview of the city. We talk about our downtown efforts and an update on our foreclosure situation, our sustainability program, public lands, and the catch-all section is Section 6, which is our legislative issues. That's where we talk about in the A to Z issues that we think that we need to weigh in on as it relates to federal legislation. In the first section, you know, the who we are and what we do, we tell them about an update on you and the city manager's office and our leaders. In addition, we give them our vision, mission, et cetera, and things like that. This year, we're talking about our Healthy Organization Initiative and what we're doing there. So that's a little bit of an update. Section 2 is from Bill Arndt's Economic and Urban Development Department. In addition to the statistics that are on our downtown projects that we've included here, which includes completed projects, projects under construction, and our planned downtown projects. This is an update from Bill and his group. This section also talks about our 2 redevelopment areas. It talks about the redevelopment extension that we got in the 2013 session, regional economic development, and what's going on in Southern Nevada in general. It also talks about our major economic drivers and projects, including the Zappos project, the new Federal Justice Tower, the opening of the Discovery Children's Museum, and other projects over the last year. In addition, it talks about our request for a new market tax credit allocation to address socioeconomic impacts to some of our low-income communities and other economic development financing opportunities. Section 3 is from Steve Harson's Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Services Department. We have the latest information on our foreclosure statistics. We have information about our neighborhood stabilization programs, including how we have used and are using our NSP 1 and NSP 3 federal funds. An overview of our prevention efforts in this area, which includes the freehomeaidnv.org website and where information is available and what we're doing there. It also includes some recommendations, including eliminating penalties for short sales, expansion of the federal foreclosure prevention programs in general, and support for the extension of the Mortgage Relief Act, all federal related. Section 4 covers our sustainability program led by Mr. Perigo. In this section, we just provide an update and overview of what we've been doing, the accomplishments from that group. As you know, we've received a lot of recognition and awards in this area, so we want to update them on that. Our operations goals, so what we're doing internally. Some statistics in there, where we stand from a sustainability perspective, as well as our community program goals, our net zero strategy and targets, and then a number of policy recommendations related to our sustainability and energy initiatives. Section 5 is our public lands section. The first item here is the Tule Springs bill. This is an important bill to us. Everyone knows about this. There are bills in both the House and the Senate. Councilman Ross testified a short 2 or 3 months ago before the Congress on this bill, and the bill passed out of the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee on December 19th. So we're hoping that there's still some synergy from that and we can continue in those efforts. In addition, we're proposing some changes to the Recreation and Public Purposes Act and some changes to the Southern Nevada Public Lands Management Act. In addition, we have also included the Nevada Cancer Institute land. As you know, this remains on our radar. In 2009, Congress passed a bill that allowed us to transfer about 80 acres near Alta and Wallapai to the Nevada Cancer Institute. They were later sold, and so what happens with that land?
Okay. That did not get picked up by Roseman University in the purchase of NCI out in the county? that land at Wallapai and
Yeah,
out.
not that we're aware of. That's why this still remains a question that we need to get answered before it comes off of our agenda.
But that was BLM land, correct?
Yeah, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
So, Section 6 is our catch-all section with position statements on a number of different topics, from budgets, programs in D&E, CDBG, FMLA, federal preemptions, unfunded mandates, fire, homeland security. This is kind of an A to Z list. Marketplace Fairness Act, we've talked about that. Municipal bonds, historical preservation, telecommunications, transportation, of course, always yucca, and radioactive waste. And finally, as in years past, our last slide is always our federal representatives. Two things I'd like to mention in closing. The first is that John Lopez, our government affairs manager, is going to be back in D.C. at the end of this month with Vicki Cram to present this plan to all of their offices, and a number of the highlights that I've talked about are things that he's going to be sharing with them. John is actually from Washington, so he has some very close ties back there. And second, I'd like to acknowledge the efforts of all the directors and staff involved in putting this together, and specifically Leanne Lee, our government affairs officer, for making it happen. This is really a citywide document that takes citywide effort to put together. So I wanted to make sure that we thank them for their efforts. And with that, we'd be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Leanne. A great report, and looking forward to looking at it more closely. Any comments, questions? Thank you very much, Mr. Olivas. We appreciate it, and thank you, staff. I mean, superior.
Thank you.
Okay, we now move on to agenda item 18. Discussion for possible action on a request for review of Condition 3 for a temporary tavern limited license, Shipping Containers LLC DBA, Container Park 707. This is in Councilman Coffin's Ward 3. And Ms. Duddleston.
Your Honor,
Go first.
I've had discussions with Ms. Duddleston, and they've been ongoing for months, I guess, and with the representatives of the Container Park, one of whom is present today. And we feel I have got to get a real handle on what we're doing here, because we're doing this piecemeal, and it's been kind of tough. Demands have been made of the Container Park, and they have complied, and in other cases they have suggested changes, which in essence has dragged us on here, and it's delayed council action. I'd rather not have the council get in another long discussion and try to plan from the podium today. So we've talked about this and are in agreement to postpone or obey this item until next month, and I think the second meeting in February, for good reason, because it's time to really settle all issues at once before the 3 months extension is up. Is that fair to say that it would make sense from your department point of view?
Your Honor, Karen Duddleston, Business Licensing. The Container Park was required to come before you for a 3-month review. That would be the second meeting in February. They have, as I noted in your backup for this item, requested changes to many of the conditions that the City Council approved in December for them. At that December meeting, you directed me to work with them specifically on Condition 3 and bring back that to you for consideration today. It's certainly up to the council to deal with this overall as a package, with additional changes coming would make a lot of sense, but we are certainly prepared today if you want to discuss this one item.
Councilman Barlow.
All right, before I make a motion, sure.
Yeah, I do have comments as it relates to the overall conversation of downtown, not just specifically the Container Park. I made some comments yesterday during briefings in relation to what this mayor and council want our downtown to look like, feel like, and who is to partake and participate in the level of entertainment and retail activities that we're building and continuing to build upon for our downtown. As I mentioned before in previous conversations, going back to our parks, this council made a decision that there will be permits for individuals looking to bring liquor into the parks. And we also created a boundary around park equipment inside of the parks, making sure that there's a distance separation of those that were drinking in the parks, that they had to be a certain distance away from the playground areas. In addition to that, we've just recently, the last quarter of last year, 2013, this mayor and council worked very diligently with the business community in downtown to create an ordinance for young people, a curfew in the downtown. Moving forward, we're back to the issues that law enforcement brought to us as it relates to a lot of the underage drinking underneath the canopy of Fremont Street Experience to include East Fremont Entertainment District, and addressing those ills from our young people, and now having a condition in relation to easing or relaxing some of the teeth that we've already placed across the city when it comes to underage drinking. I believe that this mayor and council has to make a decision as to what type of downtown we want. If we're going to protect our youth, we have to continue to protect our youth. All of us are great supporters of growing business in downtown. We want to make sure that the businesses thrive, but also we have a moral responsibility to protect our young. And that was so diligently stated during the ceremonial portion of our agenda this morning, as far as the protection of our youth. And I believe that this is one of those pivotal times and moments that we have to take a very hard look at as far as how we protect our youth and continue to keep the separation of liquor out of their face. And it's something that I hold near and dear to my heart, because I want to make sure that we have a community that all can enjoy and continue to thrive. And moving forward, depending on what this mayor and council does as it relates to this particular item, I truly believe it only opens the door for other applications to come in, as far as 18 plus inside of the clubs and the taverns that we have downtown, which, opens up Pandora's box and a number of and a can of worms as it relates to a number of other tavern establishments and clubs in the downtown to ask the same request if in fact we start moving in this direction. So I just really want to put that thought on the minds of all of the decision makers moving forward as to how we continue to move forward, but move forward in a cohesive way that protects and separates those that need protection and those that needs to be separated, specifically as we move forward with this topic of conversation. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Barlow. So Councilman, excuse me.
Thank you, Your Honor. And
I'm so sorry, Councilman.
sorry.
I just wanted to say something, and I've said this in the CMO briefing also. I'm agreeing with Councilman Barlow and what he's saying. I think it's something that it might be a turning point in the direction we're going to go as far as the full situation with downtown. And it probably is a good idea then to obey, as you're saying, right, Councilman Coffin? But this is the problem. If we obey, how do we get to discuss? We can't all meet together. And so if you meet half and half, how do we get together, or do we do it at an open meeting so we can discuss back and forth some of these issues? Or does it just have to be the time that we vote? Am I making sense in that?
No, I think this is
a very-
something, this is the conundrum of the open
yeah.
meeting law, and we have been dealing with this for the longest time. I think it is something, the conversations do have to take place in pods, and I think it would be certainly wise to have conversation with Councilman Coffin, who really this is in his ward, but to take into consideration and each of us can come up with some concepts that we can share about what we want. But the rest of it does have to take place in public, and that's the purpose of the open meeting law.
And that's fine. Having it in public is fine with me, but we never, ever discuss in public. I mean, do we ever have, well, we do discuss, but I mean, in things like this, do we ever have a meeting where if you want to have the vote in 2 weeks, for example, Councilman, could we in 4 weeks? Is that what you're saying? Have the vote in 4 weeks or 2 weeks? What I'm just saying is if there's an intervening meeting time, could we just have it to discuss and not have to vote? Just discuss, and we could discuss openly. The public would be aware of some of the problems we're facing and some of the concerns.
Well, I think, Your Honor, through you, if I can
Yes,
go
please.
to answer Councilwoman Tarkanian, I'll have some meetings in my office, and subject to the open meeting law, we can't have a bunch of members of the council in there, but there'll be an airing of these things, and reporters are welcome to find out what's going on. That's not a problem, because it's an open deal. The future of Container Park is secure. Let's make sure we understand that. We're having this discussion, but this is a great place, and since it's been open, we've had nothing but rave reviews. And but because the whole thing launched in a piecemeal fashion, first they were trying to get started in October, then they couldn't, and they wanted to start in November. And so we approved measures to get them open, measures of a temporary nature, with details to follow. Well, here are the details. You know, they're just coming in. So rather than have us do any more piecemeal with details to follow, I think it's in our best interest as a council to be able to have it all in front of us, so that, let's say, at the second meeting in February, we have prepared time on our agenda to air everything. And many of those questions will be answered before we get that meeting going, I'm sure, because the representatives of the Container Park will be able to have access to every member of the council, and our staff will too. And I think you'll be able to kind of get the gist of where we're going, because I'll let you know. You know, it's like anything else. And you can drop in and you can be part of anything that's going on. We just can't have a violation of the open meeting law.
Well, no, I'm not talking at all about a violation of the open meeting law. I'm asking to carry the open meeting law over into discussion of this. It isn't the same meeting with 2 or 3 people. Sometimes, you know, maybe Councilman Beers has something very important to say, and I don't hear it. It might affect how I think on an issue. So I'm not talking about breaking any open meeting law. I'm talking about extending it so that public can understand some of the discussion we have. I just feel we've had a reluctance to move in that direction. We've talked about it before, and I'd just like to go down on the record as saying that I think we should start doing that.
Mayor?
And I know everybody's going to be worried about this or that's going to happen, but anyway, I don't mind the abeyance.
Thank you. I don't think there's a motion yet, but I'd like to turn back to Ms. Duddleston first, and then, of course, to our city manager. Sorry.
Your Honor, for the record, Karen Duddleston, we could, at your direction or at the city manager's direction, bring back an item for a discussion on giving us direction on providing code provisions or bringing back an ordinance on alcohol and the presence of minors and under what conditions they could be present and when they could not. That discussion might give us some direction to bring you back something formally so that everyone knows what those rules are. We're not before you trying to do licenses by design. Rather, we have a set of regulations that are very clear.
Sorry, and I do think what Councilman Barlow brought up, it's fundamental to what we want to the city. So that's why I'm sure he brought it up. What do we want this downtown in the city of Las Vegas to represent? How do we want to handle our minors? What are the areas? So all of this, of course, with you involved. And Ms. Fretwell, please go ahead. He hasn't made this motion yet.
I know that Councilman Barlow wants to speak. Karen said what I was going to suggest, which is we can just put a discussion item on a future agenda, you know, sometime in February, and have an open discussion about your regulations regarding alcohols and minors, and then that way that'll help us promulgate regulations for your consideration that would apply to everybody, and then you're not doing it one licensee at a time, although you can always do that by condition. So just something to consider. We're happy to follow your direction in that regard. I know that many of you want to talk, and it's just an idea.
I would like to, if I may, Councilman Barlow, intercede here. I would like this item of what the council wants for for this city as to what he has been referring in our retreat. A discussion of exactly what Councilman Barlow has been discussing, which is a more global issue.
That's correct.
How do we perceive what we see for our city? And that's something, to me, is full of meat and needs a lot of direction as we go to the open retreat, which would
Mayor-
be in January?
No, actually, the time that would be really available for that kind of conversation and direction to staff would be March 10th, which is after your consideration of this matter. So I would suggest you have a conversation, if you want to, you have a conversation on the agenda. We can put it on the first meeting in February to talk about this issue in general. And of course, it could be followed up on at the retreat.
Right.
But if you wanted to
Okay.
inform your discussion prior to consideration of this particular application, and I'm aware of at least one other that's related to alcohols and minors being commingled, and possibly a third, that it might help your staff get better prepared for these kinds of licensing issues. And to Councilman Coffin's point, create more clarity for the applicants, so that it doesn't feel so linear in our decision-making process. So anyway, just for your consideration.
Well, and that might be something, I know over the past 2.5 years that I've been seated here, we have had the discussion take place right here on the dais, which leaves us going forward into a very lengthy council meeting. And so it is healthy, and it probably is the right way. So, Councilman Barlow, do you wish to add?
Yeah,
Or
just briefly,
Councilman Coffin?
just briefly, Mayor. And I want to make it perfectly clear that my conversation is not attached to this item today. It's more of a, as the mayor mentioned, a fundamental and philosophical approach to
Right.
downtown, which not only encompasses wards 3, but wards 5 and wards 1 as well. Because the decision that we make today will be decisions that Councilwoman Tarkanian and myself and the others on the dais will have to address when those taverns and other auxiliary uses come forward in the future and ask for the same request. So I'm bringing up a philosophical question as far as what is it that we want our community to look like, and what are the separations, and what should be required, what should not be required. This item just so happens to bring out that conversation as to a bigger conversation that we must have and must decide on, so that as we vote today, it will be a vote that will move the business community forward and this government forward, this legislative body forward, knowing what the rules of engagement are. And so that's where I'm coming from. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's go back to you, Councilman Coffin, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. This will get solved, and I think there's a larger picture, and I'm glad members of the council have expressed, in fact, they've expressed on numerous occasions, their concerns about alcohol and our youth. It's important to understand that in the context of all the things that are out there and all the temptations for youth as well as adults, that illegal drugs dwarfs alcohol as far as the problems that are out there, and that the addiction to drugs, again, is just a gargantuan compared to the addiction to alcohol. So we can focus on one thing and look at that one tree in the forest and forget all about the rest of it. So let's remember that we have the whole thing to consider. And in the dispensing of alcohol, at least we have licensing, which requires proper training for those. We've got all that handled, really, I think, in the long term. But the conversation here is drifting over to one narrow thing, when in fact it's just a small part of a bigger picture. So I now move to obey this item, number 18, to the second meeting in February, which is what date, Clerk?
February 19th.
Thank you, Beverly.
You're welcome.
February 19th, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There is a motion. Please vote. And please post. That motion carries, and I would like to ask staff to go ahead and plan an agenda for us to be able to vet the hire full forest discussion on this and ask you to please get that going before the 19th of February. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Duddleston.
And Madam Mayor, have we been given the other conditions they're questioning? I mean, did you say there were, how many conditions were being questioned
about
on the
20.
container park?
They submitted to us several pages of the conditions are several pages long, so I believe they had changes in about 20 of them. Many of them are mini minor. Some of them
Could we
may
have a
affect
copy
things.
of that?
I will be glad to put together a report of where we are and everything well in advance, and I'll get that out to you the next few days.
So included in a copy of where we are will be their communication relating to changes.
Correct, and a
Thank
copy
you.
of the security plan. The most updated one that they've provided to us is their proposal.
Thank you, Ms. Duddleston. While I try to be flawless, I am not. It's amazing. I did not take a motion on accepting Mr. Olivas's wonderful 2014 Federal Legislative Agenda Report, which I thought was just a report, but there is. And so, Mayor Pro Tem, would you care to make a motion on agenda item 17?
Motion to accept the report.
Thank you. There's a motion. Please vote on agenda item 17. Mrs. Bridges, we did post the there 17? Okay, it's posted, it passes unanimously, thank you. And we did obey and vote, and thank you. Okay, so now we will move on to agenda item 19. There's abeyance board and commissions for possible action. Civil Service Board of Trustees, Andre Spurlock, term expires August 17th, 2015, who has resigned. Councilman Barlin?
Yes.
I understand you had a recommendation.
Yes, ma'am. As a number of council members know, Ms. Lois Mack, who has been a member of the Las Vegas community for, I want to say close to 50 years, if not more, has asked and accepted upon the motion today to accept the opportunity to serve on the City of Las Vegas Civil Service Board, and that will be my motion, and I will be happy to provide the clerk with all of the pertinent information in order to process Ms. Mack accordingly, if in fact the council moves for approval. And so my recommendation right now would be for approval of Ms. Lois Mack. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know she's got a great reputation, and so there's a motion. Please vote, and please post. And would she be fulfilling the rest of the term or creating a new term?
I believe on civil service it will fill the remainder of the term.
2015. Thank you very much. The
Thank
motion passes. On agenda item 20, that has been obeyed to the 5th of February. Agenda item 21, bill number 201362. Councilman Barlow, would you like to have the bill read?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Council. Thank you, Your Honor. Bill number 2013-62, in order to extend the boundaries of the city to particularly describe the line to be annexed, makes it subject to the laws, obligations, and benefits of the city, and provide for other related matters.
Thank you very much. Councilman Barlow?
Yes. Prior to my motion, Mayor, I do have a question for council. Was this the item, Mr. Jerbick, that was obeyed in recommending yesterday?
No. Sorry, that was the previous bill. That was bill number 2013-61 that was obeyed, and it was also obeyed earlier today, and it has not been read.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, then I'll move for approval.
Thank you. This motion, please vote, and please post. Motion carries. Thank you. And on agenda item number 22, bill number 201363, Councilman, I think I skipped, or did I? No. Councilman Barlow, would you like to have the bill read?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you,
Please.
Councilman. Bill number 2013-63, in order to extend the boundaries of the city to a particular described line to be annexed, to make this an subject to the laws, benefits, and obligations of the city, and provide for all other matters.
Thank you very much.
Move for approval.
There's a motion to approve. Please vote and please post. Motion carries. And agenda item 23, bill number 201364. Councilman Barlow, would you like the bill read?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Councilman. Bill number 2013-64, in order to decide to extend the boundaries of the city, to particularly describe the land to be annexed, make established the laws, obligations, and benefits of the city, and provide for other related matters.
Thank you very much. Councilman?
Move for approval.
Is a motion to approve? Please vote. And please post. That motion carries.
Yeah, Mayor,
Thank
can I
you.
make a correction? Lois
Yes.
Mack will have a new term. It will not be filling the unexpired.
Okay. Did you hear that, everyone? Lois Mack will have a full new term, not fill in the remainder of the
Correct.
previous
I
term.
double-checked to make sure.
Thank you. Agenda items 24 through 28, bills 2014-1 through 2014-5 will be heard at recommending committee Tuesday, January 21st, 2014. City Attorney, please read bills.
I'll be happy to, Your Honor. Bill number 2014-1, an ordinance to amend ordinance number 6285 regarding the extension of the corporate limits of the city to correct the zoning designation of the annexed territory and to provide for other related matters. Bill number 2014-2, an ordinance to eliminate specific business license categories for commercial dance studios, distressed merchandise sales, retail demonstration sales stores, food categories, eliminate charitable solicitation permits, amend licensing regulations, related outdoor pay telephones, professional promoters, and charitable or special events, and provide for other related matters. Thank you, Val. Bill number 2014-3, an ordinance to delete certain work card requirements in multiple chapters of LVMC Title VI, amend multiple chapters of LVMC Title VI related to work card requirements, establish a hearing panel to hear work card appeals, and provide for related matters. And Bill number 2014-4, an ordinance to amend the Unified Development Code to establish the means of allowing a site with developmental approval entitlements to obtain separate and concurrent approval for temporary development and to provide for related matters.
I think there's one more. We only did 3.
My apologies, there is one more, Bill number 2014-5, in order to extend the boundaries of the city to particularly describe the land to be annexed, to make it have subject to the laws, obligations, and benefits of the city, and provide for other related matters.
Thank you very much. These new bills, 2014-1 through 2014-5, are assigned to council members Anthony Barlow and Coffin. Thank you very much. And we will move on to agenda item 29, RQR 51479, abeyance item. It's a public hearing. Applicant Imagine Schools at East Mesa, owner Voss Family Trust, required review of an approval special use permit SUP 48849 for a private school primary with a waiver to allow no pickup and drop-off area or ones required at 1951 South Rainbow, C1 Limited Commercial Zone. This is in Ward 1. Councilwoman Tarkanian's staff recommends approval. This is a public hearing. Hello. Declare it open. The applicant I see is present. Could you again announce yourselves?
Absolutely. Lucy Stewart, 3900 Meadows Lane. Tiffany Curtis, 7885 West Rochelle Ave.
Ted Edgerton, 6345 South Jones Boulevard.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to be heard on this item? This is the school item that we had talked with the traffic flow and drop-off pickup.
My name is Anthony Hodges, and I approve. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to be heard, please come forward and state your name.
Don Williams, live right down the street from the school.
Thank you very much. Any comments you wish to make on that?
I'm sorry?
Any comments you make to wish?
Well,
That is
I guess-
good, make to wish. Wish to make, I know I've been under stress. Woo!
I guess really want to know what are you looking at to continue the abeyance or changing? I didn't get any paperwork on that to tell me what we're going to be
Okay.
discussing.
I'm going to ask Mr. Fagg, clarify, please.
Certainly. This is a required review that was placed upon the special use permit when it was first approved last year. The purpose of the required review was to evaluate their pickup and drop-off plan and the impacts of that on the neighborhood. As I reported when this item was heard at the November 20th City Council meeting, Code Enforcement noted that the first time that they inspected, there were some issues with their pickup and drop-off plan. However, on 2 subsequent visits, they were operating in accordance with the approved plan. And so staff has recommended approval of this, and we have placed a condition on this required review that we have another required review on April 2nd, just to make sure that, again, the pickup and drop-off plan is working according to the submittal.
Thank you, Mr. Fagg. Councilwoman, please.
Yes, we will have another review on April 2nd.
Okay. I'm satisfied. They're doing a pretty good job. I'm sure every so often you see a car go, but you can't stand out there 24 hours a day and take care of those. Some of the parents are going to do what they want. But I have no problem with what they're doing. I'd like to keep that to review to make sure everything's going fine, but I think the school's doing all right.
And I wanted to tell you that, I just wanted to tell you that we appreciate the fact that you care about your community and that you have watched this closely, and the improvements have been made that needed to be made.
Thank you. I support schools. My wife's a retired school teacher. I have to keep in line, too. And I'm sure also.
Oh, yes, and we really thank you for participating in the public comment area. It's really important that you come down here and speak out.
Well, I came for something else. I just happened to be here at the right time. Thank you.
Good, thank you. And so anyone else wishing to make comment during public hearing? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Councilwoman.
Okay. And as we discussed at the meeting we held, myself and a member of my staff went out there and spent a couple of hours watching on the pickup, and we feel it's 99%, and that's as close as you can get to having no cars going in the wrong direction. There was a concern on my part about cars that had nothing to do with Imagine School that were coming off of Rainbow, and I felt going too quickly. We have asked to see if we can get that go slow zone for a school. We haven't gotten an answer yet on that. But I would, the one thing I have a concern about was, though, remember when we said we were going to have the meeting was supposed to be with members of the Imagine School and my office, and also the neighborhood members. And we didn't have them. They weren't invited that last meeting. And I mentioned to you about this one lady in particular, and also the gentleman who was here because they had spent so much time. So, and I mentioned this also when I visited the school. I'm going to ask if you would contact Linda Swidenhammer, and you have her number?
Yes, I do.
And please talk with her and get from her suggestions or comments that she has, because she was not invited to that meeting where she thought she was going to be invited. That was of concern to her. She sent me a letter on that, an email. And, but I will move to follow staff's recommendation for approval with a reevaluation on April 2nd.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's a motion, please vote, and please post.
And just be sure to contact her, because I told her you would.
I will, absolutely.
Thank you. The motion carries. Arduously done, but we got where you wanted to go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 30, EOT 51961, non-conforming use public hearing, applicant TJP and Nevada LP owner, TJ Plaza LLC et al., on a request for an extension of time on a non-conforming tavern at 2101 South Decatur Boulevard, C2 General Commercial Zone. This is in Councilwoman Tarkanian's ward, and staff recommends approval. It's public hearing. I declare it open. Is the applicant present?
Yes, Madam Mayor, good morning.
Good
Council.
morning.
Daniel
And your
Loera,
name?
Daniel Loera, 3275 South Jones, here representing the property owner on this item. This is a second extension of time request for the former Chapala's Mexican restaurant location that was there at the Trader Joe's Plaza on Decatur for since the mid-'80s, and fell victim to the recession. As part of the kind of reorganized plan that my client, the property owner, had with Chapala's when they were no longer able to operate, my client obtained the liquor license for that location, and subsequently set it up as a non-operational permit in order to facilitate getting a new user in there to operate the restaurant. And my client is not here today, but I can attest to their very diligent efforts over the last year to try to lease this space and put together the right deal. They've come close a number of times, but it has not happened as of yet. So we're here today to ask you for some more time to try to get that accomplished, and we appreciate staff's recommendation for approval.
And how long are you asking for?
We would like to have another 12 months. 24 would be great, but my understanding is in previous actions that 24 months was not allowed. So if we could get it, that would be wonderful, give us the benefit of the, possibly more time if we needed, and not have to come back in front of you with it again, but we'd be happy to take 12 months if we
Bless
needed.
you. Any comments, Mr. Fagg, on this particular?
Per the code, 12 months is the longest period of time that we can extend a non-conforming use, so we are limited to 12 months,
Which you have approved?
which we have recommended approval, yes.
Okay, excuse me, recommended approval. It is a public comment time. Anybody wishing to make comment on this particular agenda item, please come forward and state your name. And make sure the red button is on, right over there. Perfect.
I believe it's on. I believe they left it on. Again, Don Williams, I have just a couple of questions on this. This is an extension. They've asked for something. How long have they had to get it into order, and we haven't got it done? We, meaning whatever's to be done. And whose fault is it? I don't particularly want any more bars serving in that area. I think we have probably enough. Our community is such that we've got all kinds of eating establishments and bars surrounding us. And I just question why we keep giving extensions on these things. If a person can't get what they've got done or doesn't commit to that and meet that commitment, why should we just constantly be coming down? And I keep coming down here having to find out why we're still doing it. That's all I have. I don't really want it there, but I just basically like to know why I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to be heard on this item? Hearing and seeing none. Councilwoman.
I believe the reason why it didn't get done in the initial year was because of the recession and the trouble a lot of people have been having with businesses financially. Am I correct in that?
That's correct.
They
And
have retained the license.
yes, yes, everything's been retained.
That's correct, yes. They are maintaining it's a non-operational license. The property owner has no intention of going into the tavern business, but would like to find a good qualified user that would
Primarily, you're looking for a restaurant over there, and I just want to tell you, there are a lot of people who miss the restaurant, so.
Yes.
So I hope you do get it, and I move for approval with all conditions as staff has recommended.
Thank you. There's a motion. Please vote. And please post. The motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hope you find somebody to take it over.
Thank you very much.
Okay, agenda item 31, EOT 51985, nonconforming use, public hearing, applicant Marmat LLC, owner VFC Properties 23 LLC, on a request for an extension of time in nonconforming tavern at 1750 South Rainbow Boulevard, Suites 6, 7, and 8, C1, limited commercial zone. This is also in Ward 1 of Councilwoman Tarkanian. The staff recommends approval. It is a public hearing, which I declare open. Is the applicant or representatives present? And if so, please state your name and your position.
Good morning, Mayor. I am the managing member of Marmat LLC.
And your name, please?
Matt Kaufman, sorry.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Serena Choi at 817 South Main Street.
And your relationship to this project?
I'm assisting with the business license application.
Thank you. And sir?
Anthony O'Meal, Cambridge Group Limited, here representing the property owner, 1820 East Warren Springs.
Okay. And Mr. Fagg, any comments on the approval here?
This is the third request for an extension of time for a non-conforming tavern. However, because the applicant has made progress in applying for a license and also doing tenant improvements, we are recommending approval as it appears that they'll be able to re-tenant the space shortly.
Thank you. Based on what the council does, was there a timeline on that?
You'd have to ask the applicant in terms of what their proposed opening date is.
Okay.
We're
If the council approves, what's your timeline,
We're
please?
proposing a mid to late February opening.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, so we're working diligently right now.
Good, wonderful. It is a public hearing time, so public agenda item, please come forward, state your name, and make your comments.
Name's Anthony Hardy, and they sound like they're trying to open up and, a business in the community to help bring employees and the needed services to the area. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing none, I will close public hearing. Councilwoman.
It's very difficult in the times we've had. You have, this is your third request, and I would say that I wouldn't be feeling very good if you had to come back and request again, but you're saying that this business that was established, you're going to be able to reestablish it perhaps February, March. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So I would move for approval with all conditions as staff has recommended.
Thank you very much. This
Thank
motion,
you.
please vote. And please post. Motion carries. We'll be by. Thank you.
And I would like to state for our other member in the audience who had come and made a comment, that these are not new businesses. They're just businesses that had to stop and are being delayed a while in reopening, but it's not a new business. Am I correct?
That's correct, ma'am.
Yes. So it's not an additional restaurant with liquor. It's one that's been there and that just had to stop for a while. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to agenda item 32, EOT 52274, non-conforming use, public hearing applicant. Fifth Street Gaming, LLC, owner 899 Fremont, LLC. A request for an extension of time for a non-conforming gaming establishment, non-restricted at 899 Fremont, C2, General Commercial Zone, Ward 3, Councilman Coffin. Staff recommends approval. This is a public hearing. I declare it open. And applicant or representatives present, please state your name and your relationship to the project.
Good afternoon. Dennis Gutwald with the law firm of Brownstein, Hyatt, Farber, and Schreck. I'm counsel for Fifth Street Gaming, and with me is the in-house counsel for Fifth Street Gaming, Joe Kane.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Okay, would you state your name yourself for the record, please?
Mayor Counsel Joe Kane, General Counsel for Fifth Street Gaming.
Great, thank you. Mr. Pag, comments here, please.
This is a somewhat unusual request in that we typically don't do an extension of time application for our our grandfathered gaming facilities. However, at the request of the applicant and in discussions with our city attorney's office, we have decided to proceed in this manner. Staff is certainly supportive of this request, and we have recommended approval of this extension of time.
Thank you very much. This is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to make comment? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Councilman Coffin?
Thank you, Your Honor. I know there are great plans for this location, and the Western Hotel will rise again, and things will happen there, and very soon. So I'd be proud of that, Your Honor, expansion of your empire. I now move for approval of item 32.
Thank you very much. Good. There's a motion. Please vote. And please post. Yes, he did.
That's very exciting to me.
I can't wait to go home and tell my husband. The motion carries unanimously. Good luck. Hope it all comes to be very soon.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we move on to agenda item 33. I'd instruct the city clerk to set the public hearing dates and appeals from the City Planning Commission meetings in dangerous buildings or nuisance litter abatements. Okay, agenda item 34, citizen participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the city council. No subject may be acted upon by the city council unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, come to the podium, give your name for the record. The amount of any discussion on any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speaker will be allowed, may be limited. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak under this portion of the agenda? Please state your name and make your comments.
My name is Anthony Hodges, and first I want to say Happy New Year's to the
Happy New Year.
City Council.
Happy New Year.
And thank you. And I want to show you a couple of things that I consider very important for our general public to know. I always bring things down which they will always be interested. This first one is Mary Hart. She became the first person involved as the ceremonial lady for Entertainment Tonight. And so she's a very beautiful lady, and I met her, so whatever. That was in 1990, and Pete Wilson was running for governor of California, which he won for a couple of terms or whatever. And so I just want to let you know that that's very important because it had Ronald Reagan was there, but see, when presidents retired, they're not allowed to campaign, had their name posted. So he was there, so he was inside the building, whatever. Anyway, that's the end of that one. Remember that the lady's name is Mary Hart, and she's very beautiful still involved with the entertainment. This is a letter when Barack Obama, who is now president, when he was running in 2008, he sent me a letter, and when he sent the letter, because the way he writes this funny-looking signature, I told his campaign manager, I said, is this his initial or what? And so the campaign manager said, no, that's his actual signature. So I want the people of the United States to know that I had Barack Obama's famous signature. Now, he done signed it millions of times already, but that was his signature before he ever became president. And I don't care what nobody says, it still look a little funny to me, whatever.
Thank you.
Okay, and on the other side, oh, wait, got the wrong one, sorry. The other one is after he became the president of the United States, he sent me a letter. It's, you got the White House thing there. So they go to that famous signature again. All I'm saying is that I had an ongoing relationship with the great president. I'm not exactly famous for what him and Congress doing these days. That's not the point. But the objective is I did get to be, associated with him. And so that's all I want to say about that. But the Mary Hart thing was very important. And I want to say, I just want to let y'all all know I love you. And another thing I do want to say, it was very important in my life. Over all the many years in my life and the many things I've done, it's uncountable. But I learned many years ago that there is a statement called first and only. A lot of people are firstborn, first entry, and you have millions of firsts, but you got very few onlys. And then depending on how only, it can be only and very lonely because you stand out there by yourself. So I got 2 or 3 of them also. So the word only, that's pretty tall. That's a pretty heavy order. Not too many people you can claim and hang on to that particular title. Remember, a lot of firsts, firstborn, first business, first death, first go into the hundreds of millions. But only is a faithful few. So it's not a matter of bragging or nothing, but I just happen to fall in that only category. Sorry, get a little old, my memory slipping or whatever, for as my vocabulary is speaking. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
and
you.
I love you, and thank you for letting me come by.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please state your name.
Thank you. Todd Farlow, 240 North 19th Street. 2 things, Your Honor. First of all, we wish and pray that Ross has a complete and quick recovery.
Thank you.
We're
That's
concerned
very
about.
kind.
Second
It's
of
his
all,
brother Eric. Just for the record, it was Eric that was experiencing. No, it's fine that you're
Sorry.
speaking of our family and they're equally loved. So thank you very much.
Second thing, I'm trying to find some information. And it's a roundabout way, I guess. But does anyone even have a ballpark idea of how much a lot would have to pay in taxes to provide the basic services, like street lighting, street cleaning, and that. The thing, and this is where I'm going with this. My property, the taxes on that, it's a 50-foot frontage, is about $300, less than $300. That does not pay even the basic services. So do we have an idea of how much a lot like that would have to pay in taxes to at least pay their way, so to speak?
Thank you. I think we can turn over to Mr. Vincent down there.
If I could just read the colors, I'd be all right. I don't have a real specific answer for the services related to the actual development, but just to give you sort of a picture, a broader picture, we know that property taxes only constitute about 20% of our general fund operating budget. We obviously have some taxes dedicated specifically for capital and maintenance roads and streets. So I guess theoretically, if the whole burden was borne by property taxes, you'd have to have a five-fold increase in the property taxes, and you could get off of all the other sources. So that it's a very small, it's a significant, but a smaller piece of our revenue than most people think.
And is it not true that property tax goes to the county and we just get a portion?
The property tax is a compilation of overlapping rates. So each overlapping entity has its own rate. The reality is that it's statutorily capped at $3.64 for $100 of assessed value. We're currently at about $3.27 of that $3.64. So you have a statutory limit on your ability to increase that anyway.
So to pay our way, could I assume that the property taxes should run about $100 a month?
Would depend on the value of the home.
Well, and this is the problem, because the structures in our neighborhood are so old in that they've lost all their value. So, and that's the problem. So that particular, we're still paying for the street lights and all of the things that come in, animal control, all the rest of the stuff. Now, my mother just bought an old place and fixed it up in Klamath Falls, and they figure right at $1,200 a year pays for the to keep their head above water, pays their part. And so that's kind of where I am on this. If I figure $100 a month or $1,200 a year, that would pay for the streets and animal control and that. Good. What's that? Oh, well, right.
Mayor?
Yes.
I can't tell you that our overall tax burden, when you look all in per resident, not per household, is right around $1,000 per year per resident. If that helps you.
Average, everybody, that's
All
average.
residents, yeah. Maybe including
So
your
your
pets, I'm
mother's
not sure.
probably in the ballpark right there.
Right, at $100.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
That's very nice. We wish that was a benevolent statement you made, and hopefully we'll find others that understand that as well. Thank you very much. So we'll close this portion, the public comment, and move on to agenda item 35. This is council member recognition, comments made by individual council members during this portion of the agenda will not be acted upon by the city council unless that subject is on the agenda and scheduled for action. We will start today with Councilman Coffin.
Thank you, Your Honor. It's my pleasure to announce that you and I will be hosting coffee, or should I say that I'm going to be allowed to be with you while you host coffee. I don't know who's going to pay the bill, but maybe we can work that out privately. Maybe we can ask the mayor of Denton,
yummy.
Texas. I'd like to think that we'll have a good time together at Cardenas Market. It's on the east side of Las Vegas at the corner of Lamb and Bonanza. It's a great place. You know, it's not only a supermarket with a strong emphasis on ethnic food, but they have a wonderful coffee shop in there. And when you walk into Cardenas Market, it's a lot like going into a restaurant in a sense.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a little garden in there, and so I think we'll have a good time. That will be on Tuesday, January 28th, from 8 until 9:30 in the morning. So I'm looking forward to being there with you and to field the questions and to just shake hands with the
Excellent.
people
I've been
that come in.
frequently to the one at Meadows Lane and Decatur, and just think Cardenas is a wonderful, wonderful total facility. It's just great, great food, everything, the produce, beautiful.
So we'll have some good coffee and Mexican style too. How's
Good.
that?
Mayor, can I ask Councilman Coffin? Councilman Coffin, how do you pronounce it?
Cardenas,
Cardenas, not Cardenas.
not Cardenas, no,
Okay.
Cardenas.
Thanks for that, because I've
You're
been
welcome.
mispronouncing it
You're
since
welcome.
they opened their doors.
Doesn't matter, I think it, you know, people will, you patronize the business, they don't care how you pronounce it.
Just go.
I gotta ask, I thought the syllable was on, I thought the emphasis was on the syllable before the last syllable. So, as like a pronunciation.
Felipe, where are you? Cardenas or Cardenas? Even if Councilman Coffin didn't have you working for him, is it still the same answer? Thank you.
And he says it's so much better. Thank you, Felipe.
All right, well, it should have an accent over the first A then.
Okay. Anyone, anything else, Councilman Coffin? Did that finish you for the day?
Well, all right. In Ward 3, we've had great things. We broke ground on the State Park yesterday, and wonderful occasion over at Justice Myron Levitt Family J.C. Community Park. And that's a 12,000 square foot skate park. So at an intermediate level, so I think we'll get some kids over there that have great talent showing off their skills. And we have coming up stuff like, for example, the cutting of the ribbon, which you and I will be participating in, of the new Stupak Park, the little micro park across the street from the community center. And that also used to be part of Councilwoman Karkanian's ward, so she should come over and help. Oh, heck, everybody, come on over. I mean, it's like, it's a great park on half an acre, and you can see what you can do on a small piece of land. And I think that's an instructive lesson for all of us. So, sure, there's lots happening here, but I didn't want to belabor this too much longer.
Thank you.
You're
That
welcome.
sounds like fun. Councilman Barlow.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Of course, Coffee with the Councilman will be back tomorrow at Starbucks, located at 751 Rancho and Bonanza. Look forward to the community coming out to talk to me in relation to what's going on with them and what projects they would like to see from the Office of Ward 5, and also what projects they have going on that can help the city of Las Vegas as a whole. So please come out and join me for Coffee with the Councilman. We are back on schedule for 2014. And so once again, Happy New Year's to each and every one out in the Las Vegas Valley. Of course, the Martin Luther King Jr. Parade will be taking place on right here in the downtown community on January 20th. So please come out to the state's largest, most entertaining parade. So we want to make sure that everyone knows that January 20th, starting at 10 a.m. downtown Las Vegas, the Martin Luther King Jr. Parade. Also, the banquet will be held this coming Saturday at the Orleans Hotel, starting at 6 o'clock. So if you would like to come out and be a part and take part in the banquet out at the Orleans, the MLK banquet is at the Orleans starting at 6 p.m. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention, Mayor and Council, that I was honored this year to serve as the Grand Marshal for the parade this year. So I was just informed of that from the committee, so I'm happy to receive that honor. And of course, the Bluegrass in the Park at Lorenzi Park will commence on Sunday, February 2nd, from 1 to 3 p.m. inside of Lorenzi Park. The concert will be held there each month, the first Sunday of each month throughout the rest of this year, 2014. So come out to enjoy the music of local bluegrass bands playing traditional American music with banjos, fiddles, guitars, and mandolins. So this is, of course, free to the family, the entire family. So please come out the first Sunday of every month inside of Lorenzi Park for Bluegrass in the Park. And I am not going to stop saying this until my dear friend, Councilman Beers, show up with his banjo. So I'm inviting him to come and please let me know when he would like to do a cameo appearance and possibly entertain the crowd for a set or two. So that is the challenge for 2014, and I look forward to the entire council coming out on that day when Councilman Beers provides us with that solo act. Thank you.
Thank you, and please do alert us as to when that phenomenal event's going to take place so we can come. Thank you. Right, thank you. Councilwoman.
Yes. Ward 1 will have a neighborhood update and appreciation evening on Thursday, January 23rd, from 3 to 6 p.m. at City Hall, second floor of the council chambers. And the purpose is to connect the dots between all the different things we're doing within the city and within the neighborhoods. Parking will be available at the City Hall parking lot across the street. And we ask the participants who come to bring your parking ticket with you for validation at the meeting. Now, all neighborhood board and committee members have been invited, as well as any other interested residents who are also invited. We'd like you to attend. There will be updates from our city departments, and there will be neighborhood roundtables on best practices, as well as light refreshments. So we're asking everybody to come to share your neighborhood's lessons learned and the tips for success, and to bring photos of your neighborhood's events and activities for display at the meeting. It's a place where we're all going to share our information on what's happening within the neighborhoods, and also develop additional opportunities to utilize, Councilman Ross, the resources of the city. Thank you.
Good, thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem, you're on.
I do not have anything.
And Councilman Ross, your turn.
Thank you, Mayor. One thing I just thought of, as many of you know, I sit on the Board of Directors for the Las Vegas Area Council of Boy Scouts, and we're having our annual Mountain Man Rendezvous at the Moapa Paiute Reservation the first weekend in February. So I just want to get that word out there. Any scouts haven't signed up for that yet, or scout leaders got their units and signed up to get them there. On a more serious note, Mayor, our continued relationship with Nevada Child Seekers, we do have a missing young man. His name is Joshua Benaziak. He is 17 years old, 6'2", weighs 180 pounds, has brown eyes, blonde hair. He was last seen on East Tropicana and Spencer Street. He was last seen wearing a black T-shirt that had a Del Sol baseball logo on the front and dark-colored jeans, and he may be carrying a backpack with his personal belongings. He does have a tattoo that says Chicago across his upper chest, so that should not be hard to miss. And it's important to get him back to family members and people who care about him. So if anyone has seen this young man, or knows his whereabouts, please contact Nevada Child Seekers, 702-458-7009, or the Henderson Police Department at 702-267-5000. And we are actually finding a lot of these kids out there. And I know we had the presentation on human trafficking earlier today, and it's just so important that we all keep our eyes out for the young people in our community and do everything we can for them. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. And Joshua, if anyone's looking, folks are looking, so please get yourself home or contact them. Councilman Beers.
Well, thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to start by thanking the marshals. One of their duties is helping keep our parks safe. And they agreed this weekend that just passed that if I agreed to not bring my banjo, that they would let me into Councilman Barlow's event. And so I actually did enjoy the music and the park. We'll figure out what we're going to do. I guess we'll schedule a meeting between Ward 2 and 5 and the marshals. And we'll figure out what we're going to do. We're going to have coffee with the councilman next Monday at the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf at Sahara and Fort Apache. Hope you will join us there. If you're a later riser than that, then we would invite you to Beers with Beers, which is taking place Thursday, January 30th at the Three Angry Wives Pub at Boca Park. And would also let folks know that over at the Marriott and at the JW Marriott at Rampart Casino, there's a bunch of realistic heart sculptures. We had one upstairs on the 7th floor of our City Hall for a while. This is I guess it's the end of the big campaign, which is to raise money for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital by auctioning those sculptures off. So if you'd like to go by and see them, they're out in Ward 2 at the Rampart. And that's all we have today.
Thank you very much. Finally, I have 2 announcements. Tomorrow night, right here in these chambers, is my State of the City, 5 p.m., or you can go on the city's website at www.lasvegasnevada.gov. Also, our fabulous city manager, Betsy Fretwell, will be hosting a Twitter chat on Monday, January 13th, from 2:30 to 3. She'll take your questions and explain plans for the coming year, this year, 2014. So get involved with that one. And for those of you who are interested in being involved with film production in Nevada, our Film Coalition is sponsoring a film forum right here in City Hall in Chambers on Thursday, January 16th, beginning at 10:30 in the morning. 3 specialized workshops will be held, one for potential vendors, including caterers, suppliers, dry cleaners. A second for those interested in providing locations for movies such as resorts or restaurants. And a third for individuals hoping to break into the production business as cameramen or women, lighting experts, makeup artists, costume designers, or other production crew. For more information on this forum right here, please contact my office, 229-6241, and ask for Laura Kalkman. And that's 229-6241, Laura Kalkman. Finally, mark your calendars, just to reiterate what Councilman Coffin has said. The 2 of us will be at Cardenas on Tuesday, January 28th from 8 to 9:30 a.m. at the coffee shop at Bonanza and Lamb. And we hope you'll come out. It's a great place. And, you know, as I said, their produce, everything they do, they're just top of the line. They're a wonderful market and good people. So with that, I am going to move us on to agenda item number 36, which is closed session. And if I can get there, we will be going into closed session for an update on our labor negotiations, so no motion is required. And following that closed-door session, the council meeting will be adjourned. We will see you. Our next meeting is when, Mrs. Bridges?
January the 22nd.
January 22nd. Thank you very much.